Shining Priestess lies with closed eyes, surrounded black flowers and mystical light. People in hoods pray, calling her Supreme Priestess. The woman, despite her weakness, looks at those around her with warmth and calms down theirs. Hers, sight reflects care, but humility before the inevitable. It's her time her stay in this world has come to an end. She hopes find peace in another reality. Light patterns symbolize her care. Enters the temple, a tall man with green hair and a sad with a glance. In response, she smiles, expressing gratitude for his presence. The man approaches closer. Tears sparkle in his eyes. She, weak hand, reaching out to him, saying his name, as if consoling. He holds her hand, full of sorrow. Her golden hair reminds Shine's sun. The man does not understand how living without her, his world collapses. She asks him not to be sad, seeing in her care liberation for him. Her voice is soft, but her gaze executed sadness. A man in despair believes that she was its meaning life, not a curse. He blames yourself for your inability, protect her. She remembers how service to him filled her life joy, but now it became a burden for both of them. She says goodbye to him with all his soul. Reflecting on the past, she realizes that the blessing turned into a curse for those she tried support. But her light will remain in their hearts. Through the window separating their worlds, Elf with a piercing, with a glance, says that, despite all the obstacles and rebirths, always finds out her. He asks not to forget him. The stage is illuminated soft light. At the girl's bed are being distributed her last words. She asks erase memories of her so that he could find his own happiness. Lying down, weakening, she gives with a smile on her face your own the last wish. For him to live his own life, a life free from memories and pain past. Suddenly, her name echo sounds in the silence, interrupting the moment. At the last moment, she, as if is being prepared, give your all higher powers. Life, her how Supreme Priestesses, is coming to an end. The soul leaves the body, turning into a bright light, disappearing into the night sky, heading towards a new one fate. She woke up, understands that is in the new body, surrounded soft colors of the new world. The thought of who she now leads her into confusion. Young woman notices your own reflection in the mirror. Long scarlet hair, thin features faces. All this seems alien to her, but in her own way, attractive. Sudden pain permeates her head. Memories past start return, immersing her into a whirlwind emotions and events that she tried forget. She understands that in spite of to everything past overtakes her. Confusion is replaced by fear when memories of the lost life become all clearer. Condition marriage, spoken in the dark room, becomes for her new test. The voice promises healing, but requires huge victims. Elena is furious, argues with a man who accuses her in a lie. He doesn't believe in her abilities, but she justifies that her actions dictated love for him. The atmosphere is tense. Her desperate cry reaches the children's rooms. The boy, who is in bed, becomes the center of their worries. She begs, give her a chance to prove sincerity. Her patience is running out, and confrontation reaches its peak. In a rush, emotions she beret knife, but her hands tremble with uncertainty, showing internal struggle. Awareness comes suddenly. Heroine understands the essence of his actions and tries curb the storm raging within her. Sight becomes focused. Spectators get to know her personality. Elna is a girl with an iron by will, known how she is cunning and unpredictable, never gives up, fighting for his truth. However, she starts doubt your own identity. New reality confuses her, forcing reflect. She remained herself or turned into a different person. In a calm environment, girl hears strange sound that alarming her. She looking for source noise. The look is full of curiosity and excitement. Elena listens to her. Face becomes serious when she realizes that someone is trying hide your pain. She decides figure out what's going on. As she approached the door, thinks about a boy suffering from a lack of strength. Her suspicions are confirmed, but I'm not sure about mine yet rightness. She takes hold of the door handle, feeling growing alarm. Before her opens opportunity to know the truth, but the solution it doesn't come easy. Red-haired young woman bends over the wounded boy, whose pain pierces air. He moans, and she decides help, despite the risks, demonstrating sincere compassion. Sight the boy is full of tears. He weakly calls for his mother, his face distorted with fear. In his eyes, hope that presence girls will help ease his suffering. Elena puts finger on lips, calling for silence. Confidence and calmness create an atmosphere of warmth in the room. Despite the anxiety around, glowing magic comes from her hands. Smooth movement energy fills space. Boy looks at her with admiration, feeling how the force of life is coming back. Suddenly, Duke Theron appears with a grim expression, faces and candles in their hands. His steps in silence reflect tension between him and Elena. Theron outraged. He accuses her again adventure, believing that she again got involved in something dangerous without holding back anger in his words. You can hear it in his words' contempt. He does not hide disgust, avoiding look at her, demonstrating depth their hostility towards each other. Elena remains calmly, thinking about the reasons for his irritation. She understands that the past left a mark on his soul that fueled his anger. The Duke sarcastically hints that the intervention could cause harm to the child. But she confidently rejects accusations, stating that her motives were clean. Theron throws caustic remark as he leaves. His words hurt, but Elena only reservedly looks to him following, thinking about his rightness and the boy. In silence, spacious hall girl, with scarlet curls, tensely stares into space. Her expression gives out internal struggle, and thoughts full anxiety and doubts. The image of a brave but lonely woman, Elena surrounded shining flowers, that contrast with her words about her own insignificance. She thinks, enough, does she have the strength to survive? Entering another room, girl feels strange calm. Although her abilities remained with her, she looking for answers to disturbing questions. Light curtain fabric barely stirred. Elena knelt down, calling mysterious lord. Her voice is full of hope and hidden fear. Elena freezes upon hearing a familiar voice. In her eyes lights up curiosity. The Lord answers, calling her faithful maid. What makes her feel relief? With surprise, she realizes that the Lord knows her true essence. Elena full joy, confident that she was in front of him, capable of anything. She is set, question why I ended up in a new one telly. Her look is full of hope. She thirsts to hear explanation and understanding of your new role. Realizing that the Lord cannot give clear answers, Elena is in despair, falls to the floor. Her emotions reflect mixture disappointment and confusion. Rubrio, in a room with sun rays, smiling to his own father. His weak voice sounds encouraging despite recent difficulties with health. Duke, full enthusiasm. He assures son, what ready for action? But Rubrio carefully is trying stop father, worrying about his condition. Rubrio, earlier bedridden, with delight reports about his first attempt to stand up and walk independently, expressing your joy with gestures and a smile. Theron, seeing the miracle, is stunned. He is shocked that son suddenly was able to stand up on his feet, calling this an incredible twist of fate and expressing deep emotions. Meeting father and son becomes touching. Theron tightly hugs boy, trying not to hide his joy, and apologizes for his experiences and doubts. Theron, looking into the face, Rubrio realizes how much boy matured. His look filled mixture pride, love and ease sadness. Rubrio confidently moves around the room, and Theron, watching this, warns son be careful, trying hide excitement behind the joyful tone. The Duke, though he rejoices recovery son, begins doubt, will be able to this miracle will last long. His face is overshadowed shadow worries. Looking at the shining one boy, Theron accepts solution call a priest, to that checked his condition and perhaps blessed him. Rubrio. Elena enters the room, and the maids respectfully bow down. However, in behavior, it feels like tension and some tension. Elena notices that the maids are hurrying past by. Completely, her ignoring that makes her feel bewilderment and light irritation. Despite the tense atmosphere, she saves dignity and restraint. The atmosphere of the house seems calm, but hidden emotions are clearly running high. The servants were surprised, discuss how the mistress of the house, with an appetite, ate every last dish crumbs. This behavior seems them strange and unusual. Maids suggest that after recent incident that almost cost her life, mistress found strength and began to change. But the former habits are remembered reluctantly. Earlier, she threw away dishes without paying attention to the efforts of others. but now she thanks for the food. These changes cause anxiety and mistrust among servants. Maids, confused, are trying to apologize, feeling that they may have said something wrong. They scared her unexpected softness and fear punishments. Mistress tries their calm down, show goodwill and warmth care, but her attempts to establish communication seem to be them unusual and alarming. Watching the scared faces, she understands how much they accustomed to fearing her. Contempt and fear are the result of her own actions. Her sight goes into the past, where she sees myself strict and cruel. To maintain authority, she not infrequently resorted to humiliation and severity. Gloomy memories are reinforced by the image of the Duke, who with a cold indifference watches her. His condemnation and detachment only emphasize her loneliness. In an attempt to save her status, she went to extremes measures, forgetting about humanity. These thoughts, they force her rethink your own attitude towards others. Amidst remorse, conscience, and hope for forgiveness, her image illuminates interior light. She takes a step forward, deciding to become better and change your own past. Elena sees despair, bows his head, heaviness memories. She is unable to overcome the pain of loss and constant failures. The blonde's consoling gesture only enhances her internal struggle. The Duke's mansion rises in majestic silence. The carriage drives up, leaving behind cloud dust. From her comes out high, white-haired man, immersed in his own thoughts. The clergyman, whose appearance exudes reverence, crosses the gate, leisurely heading inside. His appearance calls excitement, and the inhabitants of the house with respect retreat to the sides. Young Rubrio, bowing in prayer, trusts their strength to heaven. His words resound as soulful as promise, overcome all difficulties for the sake of salvation of your soul. The priest was surprised, notice his improvement, states boy. His eyes reveal themselves in amazement. He barely believes that child again can stand. Theron watches what is happening with a cold eye restraint, but cannot hide easy concerns. His sharp comment calls easy the guest's mockery. The priest softly takes the boy's hand to check its condition. Rubrio looks at him with trust, as if hoping for protection and support in this difficult situations. An unexpected turn of events makes the priest tense up. His words express anxiety. He tries to figure out how such it's possible. After all improvement, boy calls doubts. The priest doubts the truth of the apparent health child. He notices that external manifestations can deceive, and there is a note of concern in his voice. With sadness, the priest explains with seriousness that the problem is rooted deeper. Boy suffers from a lack of divine forces, and this remains main threat to his life. The man returns home from work, carrying a bag on his shoulder. It depicts caring for loved ones, despite the obvious exhaustion. Without support, life seems burdensome. The old man lies on his deathbed. The young man grieves at his bedside, wondering how divine power could extend life and prevent inevitable. The priest explains to the parent that State Boy so critical that because of help to him are running out stocks, divine energy all giving. Little Rubrio stands in a room filled with divine energy. She pulsates inside him, but it doesn't bring full healing. Theron is outraged that even the most powerful the priests were powerless help. His excitement shows how despair gradually takes over them. Story mentions mighty Priestess, with light around. Perhaps she could perform a miracle if would not have left this world. It is specified that Priestess is no longer available. Her care left deep trace, and hope for a miracle seems unattainable for the family. Rubrio asks, save their secret is a secret. His gaze is full of determination, despite the hardships and incurability his diseases. Elena explains that excessive usage her divine forces may lead to death. Lie breaks out by chance, so that save child from worries. The boy, realizing that his mother was ready to sacrifice for the sake of his life, he begs she won't die. He can hardly contain himself. Tears, guilt yourself in her suffering. Elena, with concern looking at the tearful one, Rubrio, softly tries to console him, assuring him that all the problems behind her. Sincerity lights up his face, new hope. Young Rubrio, thinking, realizes that his mother is full of strength and ready for him help, but her disturbing probability, excessive attention to them, difficult situations. Elena ponders how maintain your support, son in secret, so that avoid unnecessary complications. Rubrio confidently assures her what she always can rely on him. The boy answers others, questions with a confident look, hiding the truth. His determination and belief in his words strengthen self-confidence. The older man asks hard question about possible allies of Rubrio. His view sharp but gets unambiguous, an answer that leaves little doubt. The Duke notices that son avoids communicating with others, almost without going out from his rooms, and this causes him hidden concern. Elena appears in the dark room. Her bright image suddenly rivets attention. The idea that she could share his with force rushes through the air. The Duke's internal monologue emphasizes his belief that Elena, considering their disagreements, I wouldn't miss it possibilities to take revenge. His confidence seems unshakable. Elena offers examine everyone in the estate, showing hidden readiness find out the truth. Anxiety and concentration are read in every her movement. Sitting at her desk, she studies documents, trying to understand why the Duke refused a divorce. The answers seem to be starting to become clear. Elena, graceful woman with bright hair, thoughtfully studied documents. Her radiating confidence hid internal doubts related to inability to conduct business. She remembered their responsibilities. How the Duke's wife, despite the cold relationship with her husband, she firmly decided to perform their obligations, maintaining dignity. Her reflections interrupted the maid, who came in with excitement in her eyes. The girl asked well-being Elena, clearly worried condition his ladies. Elena assured that she felt better than before. This caused touching the smile on the face of the maid, who experienced visible relief. The maid asked Elena, take care of yourself and never no more self-harm. Elena was touched her sincere anxiety. Elena gently touched the maid's hand, promising that she will not be alone anymore. This moment was filled with warmth and quiet understanding. However, their conversation acquired serious shade when the maid reported unexpected news. The Duke ordered an investigation into the magical artifact. These words shocked Elena. She did not expect such a turn of events and did not understand how to cope with the new situation. Sitting among the roses, I was wondering what step to take next. Elena realized that from her solutions depends a lot. Finally, having collected her thoughts, she smiled. Life sometimes amazing, she thought, but this does her only more interesting. Elena, despite her strength, is subjected to criticism with Duke Theron's side. He rejects her, emphasizing that her capabilities are useless to him. Inside flares up voltage. Reflecting on the past mistakes, Elena feels burdened expectations. The abilities that she once had were tested Theron. These memories come to life like non-healing wounds. Left alone, her past again falls upon her. Memories of how she fought for recognition do her inner world still more tense. Elena remembers how once showed kindness to a servant by helping to him take care of the sick mother. This moment reminds her of the humanity and compassion that she is so thirsty. Her heavy thoughts interrupts little Rubrio, who calls her mom. His innocence and sincerity touch her heart, calling smile in the dark. Rubrio, it is admitted that got hungry, and they decide together go to the kitchen. This, a simple moment, gives to Elena feeling unity with the son, which she lost it long ago. Meanwhile, Theron feels myself exhausted. His search ideal lead only to disappointment. He realizes that chasing the unattainable. He looks around the kitchen and notices forgotten toast. This is small change, seems like a symbol of missed opportunities, and destruction relations. Elena and Rubrio liven up the kitchen with laughter. Boy tells something funny, and she watches him, feeling how her heart thaws, even if only for a moment. Theron, having heard them, thoughtfully looks away. He realizes that those he rejected could have been his support if he would give they have a chance. A blond man in a formal suit tries the toast, and, unexpectedly for himself, admits that it is amazing taste. The simplicity of the dish captivates him, forcing think about it. He is interrupted by carrying a female voice, reminding of the need wash your hands before eating. He irritatedly turns around, but holds back answer, hiding emotions. Boy with shining with eyes joyfully runs into the room, noticing the man. Behind him, reservedly, but attentively, is watching woman with fiery hair. Sight child stops at empty plate. His confusion fast is changing suspicion, as if he was trying solve the mystery of the disappearance toast. He is sure that someone has been in the house. Woman calmly points to a man with a sly hint, noticing crumbs at his lips, revealing his deed. The accused is clearly shaken and appears embarrassed. He has to admit obvious sue, but he is outraged that he was so easily exposed and ridiculed. Standing alone, he again comes back, thoughts to that magnificent to-taste toast. This one, a simple moment, seems to him unbelievable important. However, he does not dare ask the woman again to prepare another one of the same. Her confident look and light grin only increase his confusion. Later, boy knocks on the door of the office, carefully looking inside. Seeing the guest, the man greets him, trying to hide their internal experiences. Their conversation promises be important. The man carefully looks at the child, feeling that must be more open, but lost in its own thoughts. There was something lying on the table tray, with sliced appetizing toast, and Rubrio, beaming with pride, handed it to Theron. The Duke was surprised to notice the resemblance to a piece of kitchens. The Duke, though distant, could not hide thanks. He really wanted to try something simple and warm, and he has reserved accepted treat. However, in a cozy, in the setting at the table, Rubrio froze in indecision. His gaze gave out internal the fight, and Theron, wary, asked direct question. Boy, a little bit worried. I still ask the question that torments him. Why father is so cold to mother? His words hung in the air as if challenge. The Duke frowned and stopped his son's hand. He had not expected such a question, and spoke, trying to justify your dislike. Sight Rubrio remained stubborn. Boy stated that he doesn't like it, their feud. He tried to understand why the relationship has become so complicated. Theron admitted to being offended. Elena, according to him, lied when she promised help, but she herself turned out to be useless, which led to their rupture. The father's words sounded bitter. He remembered how Elena assured him that we'll be able to all change because of love. But her, the promises turned out to be empty. The boy couldn't help himself, named father a fool. His words cut Torona, but true emotions were hidden in the eyes, boy. Rubrio, offended, ran out from rooms, throwing Theron painful words. The Duke called out son, but only heard echo own voices. Elena reflects on the fact that even despite the betrayal, it is in Theron's character. There is their strong sides. However, she fast cuts off myself from thoughts about him, considering this unimportant. Her attention switches to quiet steps behind the door. She understands that should be careful, because in the current situations, each error may backfire her. Elena realizes that, despite all the tension between them, she's capable of a lot. Her ability to manage affairs surpass everyone in the house. Theron, pondering their relationship, decides that divorce is not a solution. He comes to the conclusion that although would treat Elena with respect, if not as a wife, then as a partner. Later, Elena notices strange behavior to Rona. He is relentless, follows her, causing her mixture irritation and bewilderment. She does not understand his motivation. Theron does remark that Elena conducts many time with Rubrio. She replies that she just likes it, communicate with my son, after all. This natural for a mother. Theron admires how much Rubrio loves Elena. His warm words are embarrassing her, but she notices that he is becoming too much emotional when speech comes to talk about his son. Theron mentions that they're getting closer to my son. It has begun after one fateful night. He thinks that Rubrio could feel the strength coming from the mother. Elena, feeling a surge of determination, turns to higher powers for help. She asks, give her the wisdom to cope with the difficulties that stand in front of her. Answer comes unexpectedly. They advise her act subtly, making Theron afraid of losing the most valuable. Elena, surprised so cunning advice and preparations use it. Theron, emphasized reserved, reproachful Elena in that she evades the answer. Elena, keeping calm, only embarrassedly smiles, avoiding direct eye contact. The Duke does proposal to Elena, joined him for dinner. Elena cautiously clarifies what he means by suggesting that speech, it's about the meal alone. Theron explains dryly that her assumptions are incorrect. The dinner is arranged for the sake of Rubrio, to whom he wants to devote attention. The anger in his voice is only momentary, gives out emotions. Elena attentively watches the Duke, noticing how he struggles to suppress contempt. His reserve and remoteness cause her mixture sadness and disappointment. Rubrio, with thoughtfulness, ponders how to improve relations between parents. His sincere wish restore peace in the family touches. He is determined help. Housemaid reminds boy what parents they are waiting for him in the dining room. Rubrio nods, promising to come soon. His serious mood remains unchanged. Housemaid causes the boy respect. She the only one who didn't allow herself to judge Elena for her back. This is strengthens trust Rubrio to her. Rubrio asks maid important question. He wants find out how better help parents again find mutual understanding. His determination melt ice inspires. In the beginning, boy appears in the dining room, apologizing for being late. Elena, holding back emotions, invites him to take a seat at the table where he is already sitting. Theron. Boy addresses his mother, cheerfully stating that wants ask her an important question. Elena, slightly surprised, she puts down her glass to listen to him. Rubrio, without hiding enthusiasm, asks when he will appear younger brother or sister. This question calls stormy the reaction of a mother who choked on wine. With shining ones with eyes, boy continues, dreaming about a younger brother or sister. His sincere wish permeates the atmosphere of the dining room, adding touching moment. Elena, shocked, tries hide your own confusion. Theron is silent, but his confusion gives out uncertainty about what is happening. To the question Rubrio about the reasons Elena, holding back smile, asks him, knows is he from where are taken children? Boy confidently answers that they're bring storks. Hearing this, Elena patiently explains, children appear when parents sincerely love each other. This is amazes boy, and he wonders question why it's beyond their power. Theron, in confusion, barely pronounces name wives, what adds comedy to the moment. Elena answers calmly, but you can hear it in her voice, reproach. Elena frankly states that storks don't come to them house. Her tone is serious, but calm calls tension in the air. In conclusion conversation, she pronounces that Father Rubrio, insatiable troll, this emphasizing your point and closing the topic. Theron turns around at the noise and sees how Rubrio is in a panic, screams. His expression fright goes into full confusion. Apparently, it happened something important. A voice rushes into the mansion, some important document, and Rubrio stunned. His gaze is filling up in tears. He is in despair, asks, really it's true, speaking to the father. Boy throws himself on the bed, bursting into tears. The Duke tries calm him down, but apologize sound uncertainly. He seems confused, not knowing what to. Theron accuses Elena in silence, insisting that she should all explain. She whispers coldly that better keep silent so as not to make the situation worse. Her indifference takes the Duke out himself. He gets angry, calling her crazy. Between them flares up quarrel that exposes deep contradictions. Elena reservedly says that better look villain than reveal the truth. Theron wonders why to him have to play the role of the bad guy. She sharp replies that he has deserved it. Her categoricalness and coldness put an end to the dispute, leaving him perplexed. Rubrio, watching all this, seems to be lost. However, the woman touching his head softly says the Duke wants something important, say. Theron, gathering his courage, confesses the truth. There is a note of despair. He understands that there is no other way out except how be honest. Rubrio, with hope looking at my father. I'm amazed by his words. His eyes, they glow. But in the head, all more remain doubts. Theron, in a fit of schadenfreude, recounts how sometimes he turns into a troll and jokes about food, causing shock to those around him. This immediately causes him deaf laughter at the time. How Rest remains stunned. Elena, hearing his strange confession, froze in a daze. Her face expressed disgust and fear, because hatred of trolls has long been part of her life. Later, Theron thinks about his own behavior, remembering their actions. He is aware necessity apologized to the girl, considering that his antics came in too far. Elena is in despair. She comes up with justification to his own the past, hoping that this will help save at least something in their relationships. However, Theron apparently understands her cunning. He thinks their reactions childish and too impulsive. This awareness leads to desire change approach to communication with Elena. Theron tries to establish contact, although with suspicion inquires who pushed Elena to cunning. His seriousness, it's growing. He's paying close attention, studies each movement. Elena, in turn, sincerely explains that Total only tried help their relations, but suspicions remain, causing internal Theron has doubts. She decides confess him in his desire, get divorced. This is statement amazing Theron, making him wonder how their alliance reached a dead end. Elena explains that committed error, exiting get married, believing that this will decide problems. Her words seem a cold blow to the heart to Rona. Theron reflects on the misfortune that reigns in their marriage. He understands that he cannot more continue a fictitious union with someone who does not love him. Theron reflects on recent events, realizing that Elena is the savior Rubrio. This makes him wonder about her motives and sincerity. Elena depicted shining and kind, helping Rubrio free of charge. Theron notes her extraordinary generosity and absence divine strength, but finds her actions are delightful. Theron suggests that Elena just did it some old promise. He reflects on how the opinion and attitude towards him could have changed, that inspired her to take this step. Leaving, Theron is experiencing bitterness. He doesn't want to ask for forgiveness or pity, preferring save pride. His steps sound hollow in the void, emphasizing loneliness. Against the backdrop of a sunny day, Rubrio joyfully calls Elena, inviting her for a walk. The view of their house and the bright atmosphere emphasize coziness family moment. Elena, with tenderness, agrees, but asks boy change clothes. His impatience and joyful excitement contagious, creating warmth in them relationships. On a walk, Elena tries catch up frisky sun. Her bright dress flickers against a green background foliage, creating a picture of harmony nature and maternal love. Hiding behind a tree, Theron watches Elena. In his gaze, readable pain and contradictions, feelings that they overwhelm him at the sight of this scenes. Rubrio rushes to Elena, asking permission's fast-wash hands. Joy Boy and her smile emphasize how important he is to her. Elena admires flowers at the house. Her face glows happiness. She seems harmonious this a peaceful world that Theron desperately wants to return. Elena, surrounded blooming roses, falls under sudden flow water. Stunned, she barely understands what happened. Wet to the skin and perplexed, her sight rises to the top, where two maids with a bucket laugh. They clearly didn't expect it. Her presence under window, where we're going to water flower beds. The maids are trying justify themselves, but their smiles and laughter, they give out indifference to the situation. Elena remains bewildered, wet and humiliated. Duke of Theron appears suddenly. His face distorts rage. He demands punishments for negligent maids that causes fear and confusion in them. The maids are frightened, make excuses, but the blonde is relentless. His cold, the face, and stern voice intensify tension, causing trepidation in those around. Theron gives orders to the butler to have the maids severely punished and thrown out. His anger, it's growing. He can't stand it disrespect in your home. Elena suddenly comes to the defense of the maids, explaining that this was misunderstanding. Her confidence surprises present, including the Duke himself. Theron intently looks at her, amazed her courage. He is not used to it. See how Elena advocates for someone, especially for him. He remembers past, full grievances and disappointments. His cold mask trembled slightly when he thought about her act. Theron admits that was rightly angry, considering her manipulator. However, her intervention today makes think about her true intentions. Elena thoughtfully looked into the distance, feeling confusion. She understood that explanations no longer needed, but regret and uncertainty tormented her soul. She, I hoped, resolve unsaid, but her, the interlocutor, coldly turning away, left, leaving her alone with thoughts. Elena felt myself vulnerable. In silence sounded inner voice, suggesting hope. It seemed to her that the person whom she was afraid of losing, but he forgave her anyway her errors. Two maids were discussing your own desperate position. Without patronage, they feared being left without means of support and facing contempt societies. In this time, a stern voice forced their shut up. Woman with fire, she pointed out their misdeeds with a glance, clearly having designated the boundaries of what is permissible. The maids tried justify oneself by claiming that acted from devotion. However, icy the firmness of the answer made them realize your guilt. The Duke suddenly appeared. His presence caused the servants were frightened. There the excuses sounded pathetic, but he kept it silent restraint. Looking at them, she promised help when we'll take position hostesses. Her confidence instilled in them a new hope. dispelling fear. The maids couldn't hide relief, sincerely thanked her for her generosity. Their views expressed gratitude, and eyes were filled with tears. She looked at them with determination, thinking how secure situation. Her plan was formed, and in her eyes was red iron will. Elena reflects on whether or not Lai, the main character, revealed his feelings. Her sight radiates determination. After all she wants, make sure of it personally. She closes the door with a slight triumph, feeling that the time has come. Now she has to take the initiative into your own hands and act without delay. Considering extensive mansion supplies, girl takes over the management inventory. Her attentive and serious approach reflect readiness to become a full-fledged hostess. Elena discovers luxurious items that are used only on occasion. Dishes, gilded frames, and books shining in the light, she evaluates with admiration. Among sets, things her attention attract magical potions. Shining bottles fascinates, reminding her of the past and of the possible secrets these elixirs. She is being asked the question is whether it is true that these potions once used Knights Templar. Her curiosity fueled by legends about the past, Elena realizes that magical potions range from simple mixtures to complex potions. Her studying interrupted with a message that they will arrive soon. Guests. Young woman wonders. Need whether to herself meet uninvited visitors. However, her discontent gives in debt. After all, she must show politeness. The servant explains that the guest is the daughter of an important partner of the Duke. Elena feels that avoid the meeting will not take place, and she is mentally preparing for the role of hostess. With a sigh, she accepts reality. Even if this is not what she wanted, debt requires to execute their responsibilities. How full-fledged hostesses of the house. Against the backdrop of a majestic mansion, a girl with fiery red curls arrogantly does comment to an interlocutor dressed in an elegant suit. His look is full of confidence and his embarrassment. It was obvious that he wanted to ask something important. They stand at the entrance to the luxurious estate. The man, trying be gallant, interested her well-being, hinting at yesterday's events. Her calm answer indicates that she all holds under control. Girl with pride claims that she is fine. However, in front of them, dialogue is happening something unexpected. The arrival of guests. The man notices this is trying soften voltage. Her sight sharp changes when she notices one of the guests. Shock fills her eyes. In front of her is someone she didn't expect to see. His face calls whole vortex emotions. A guest with green hair and a mysterious with a glance fits closer. He says solemn words about his devotion. The stage fills mystical atmosphere. Deep, the heroine's internal monologue reveals her past. Her thoughts are overflowing experiences. She recalls that once upon a time, fail must, was get rid of the curse. Seeing his confident face in front of me appearance, girl starts doubt that he really is free. She notices in him something elusive, disturbing, as if he were still connected, invisible chains. In a fit of passion, emotions, she instinctively reaches out to him, but doesn't understand how this may be. She distinctly realizes that their meeting absolutely unexpected. The man looks at her with interest and bewilderment. He carefully asks if they met Lee. They earlier, clearly feeling some inexplicable kinship. Elena barely holds back surprise. Her thoughts feverishly are looking for exit from established situations. She realizes that should to play the role that was forced upon her, the role of who she was, she is not. Elena, unexpectedly having met Fael and Theron, expresses surprise. She says she didn't expect it meet with the Duke and hints at an attempt adaptation to the new life after losses. Elena notices how Theron reacts coldly to the words, but his eyes, they show confusion. Fael stands nearby, observing the situation, adding to it shade tension. Leona greets Torona, expressing respect. She emphasizes his devotion and asks if everything was okay in her absence, showing his sincere care. Theron, a little embarrassed by the attention, thanks Leona, but notes that the visit did not take place necessary. Inwardly, he seems to feel myself awkward, but keeps dignity. Leona, turning to the Duke, smiled asks when there will be dinner, adding that she was already hungry. Her openness creates light and friendly atmosphere. Butler announces that dinner is scheduled for 2 hours, but suggests try hard speed-up preparation, showing their readiness, help in any situations. Leona thanks Butler with grace. At that time, how Elena watches them interaction. She starts suspect that Leona is experiencing feelings for Theron. Elena mentally notes that relationship Leon and the Duke seem intriguing to her. She starts wonder how much serious intentions Leon's in relation to Rona. Leona suggests everyone go inside. Lightly embarrassed by the meeting, look at Theron. Her confidence manifests itself in a light, almost unnoticeable smile. Elena notices fleeting expression Leona, which makes her feel questions. Confused, she thinks that hides behind itself this mysterious sight. On the balcony of the mansion, Elena notices Leona, who, turning around, mockingly throws her a glance. The girl decides that he is not going to fight for the Duke with this arrogant rival. Elena thought that was would if she would have to sharing a cake with Leona. She imagined how rival admires confectionery creation, but her complete ignoring offends Elena. Realizing that thoughts about Fael distract her, Elena decides focus on something else. She wondering what maybe be busy her son, who seems all day absorbed their own affairs. Elena suddenly notices someone hiding in the garden among bushes. Approaching closer, she understands that this Rubrio. He seems to her withdrawn and immersed in his own experiences. She notices that Leona is in a hurry somewhere, leaving her one son. Elena becomes wary, feeling concern for the condition Rubrio, which looks like depressed. Fael, standing in the corridor, thinks about the current situations. His wary sight expresses dissatisfaction with the fact that happens to a boy he clearly believes important. Elena is approaching its son and notices his depressed condition. She understands that he is hiding and tries not to give it away their own emotions, but the anxiety in his eyes is obvious. She is trying to find out why he is hiding. Elena carefully asks if she offended me, whether it was Leona, and her voice was filled care and concern for the child. Rubrio, curled up on the grass, confesses that heard Leona talking behind his back while he was sick. These words are deeply touched boy, and his eyes full of sadness. Behind closed doors, the servants are discussing by the door Rubrio. One of them points out that the Duke will forget about the boy, as only will appear healthy heir. These words awaken in the child more fear. Elena, talking with her son in the garden, notices his concern. Rubrio admits that he does not want to see someone in their house. Look mother's insightful and warm. Elena calms down the boy, explaining that hatred is normal feeling if it reasonably. She says that even Lord Sorrow gave he has the right to feel. The son, trembling, asks, is it justified? Whether his hostility. Elena offers sort out your own emotions and understand what caused such strong reaction. Wounded Fael is on the verge of life and death. Doctors panicking, considering his chances of survival insignificant. Situation seems hopeless. However, appears a person who is capable help. He warns that healing may be deadly dangerous. Magic fills spacelight. Process exhausting and looks painful, but suddenly, Fael opens eyes. Doctors are struck, and the hero of healing advises take away Fael for rest. Having woken up, Fael asks why he was saved. Because this was too much risky. His heart fills gratitude and surprise. The savior explains that he could not allow himself to regret inaction. These words penetrate the soul, leaving indelible impression. Rubrio looks at her mother with admiration. She advises he should not be afraid to act, so as not to regret unused possibilities. Elena and son stand in the rays sun. He thanks her for her wisdom, and her figure, like a shining beacon, radiating warmth and hope. Elena listened thoughtfully. Fael, who apologized to her, expressing regret. His voice was heartfelt, as if he didn't want to hurt her feelings. Suddenly, the girl noticed that his words caused her strange feeling. I remembered that I had already heard something similar, and the memory made her shudder. Trying hide embarrassment, Elena decided change the subject. She hurried smile pretending that her didn't touch at all these strange matches. In conversation, the topic of how came up Live's wandering night. Fael replied that got used to my fate, but sometimes she brings joy. However, having mentioned their wanderings, he admitted that now found goal. His words were full hope and inner peace of mind. Elena was surprised at how much he was quickly able to find what he needed. I was looking for her. Thoughts saturated emotions, mixed with surprise and admiration. Young woman tried change the tone by stating that now is not the time for such topics. Avoid further spiritual conversations. I barely managed to hold back a laugh as an absurd thought flashed through my mind. Idea how would distract fail, but quickly pulled up myself. Fael caught her confusion and concern. I asked, "Everything, are you okay?" Elena replied that felt lung dizziness. His attentiveness made her feel herself a little better, but she, all more, felt lung confusion, thinking about the strange turn of their dialogue. Little Rubrio anxiously turns to Elena, worried about her condition. With his childish, he persistently suggests returning home so that calm down and recover forces. Fael and Elena, surrounded in the morning light, go home. His confident being around her creates an atmosphere of calm and support. Fael moves away, thinking about his own promise not to mention some moments past. His heavy step reflects internal struggle and solutions save secrets. Coming home, Elena, Rubrio, and Fael are faced with turmoil. Leona is in a panic, her voice filled with anxiety. She lost something valuable. Two maids they are trying calm down upset Leona, who, having closed face with hands, begging to find her jewels. Elena, observing, strives to understand that happened. Housemaid explains Elena that valuables have disappeared relic, necklace Leonie. These words evoke serious interest in the girl with red hair. Shown necklace sparkling in her imagination, called Herdri, Heart of the Sea. Leona, not believing what had happened, barely holds back tears, assuming theft. Elena notices strange change in eyes. Leona, her unusual sight calls excitement. But despite this, she saves composure and calmness. Theron appears and demands explanations. His stern look and outstretched hand emphasize his impatience and distrust of Elena. Theron demands from her in an accusing tone answer. He doubts her non-involvement, hinting that proof can point out her guilt. Elena, with bitterness, realizes meaninglessness explanations. After all, nobody believes her words. Beautiful, the decoration on the chest seems important, but causes suspicions of others. Leona, shocked beauty inlays decorations, wonders why noble to the lady steal it. Her words sound reproach and doubt of innocence. Tears on Leona's face, they give out her indignation. The internal monologue endures accusation of a devious plan that enhances tension in the situation. Despite the soft tone, Leona expresses suspicion that circumstances too much strange. Her words sound, how biased condemnation, causing tension in the air. Elena, confident in her innocence. Her confident smile shows readiness prove the truth. However, Theron considers the moment inappropriate for such a mood. The Duke insists that Elena should convince him of your honesty. He is ready help, if I'm sure of her innocence. But for now, doubts. Thoughts of divorce flashes through my mind, Elena. But her confidence does not fade. She decisively configured prove your innocence in what happened. Rubrio, overflowing emotions. Can't stay away. Clenching his fist, he assures that his mother would never, I wouldn't take someone else's thing. Leona, with sympathy, looks at the boy, calling him poor. But her words hint that one pity not enough. Necessary compelling proof. Rubrio suddenly states that there is confirmation. He reminds that they recently returned from a walk, holding something important in their hands. Decoration. Leona, reservedly smiling. He claims that necklace found in the room Elena, hinting at her involvement. Her cunning sight reflects hidden joy from the current situations. She admits her share of responsibility for bringing the jewelry, but at the same time requires sincere apologies, promising then settle conflict without excess noise. Theron, tired of the proceedings, asks Elena to reconcile himself and apologize to Leona. His tone makes it clear that he just wants to end the scandal. Rubrio outraged accusations against his mother and breaks down, defending himself her honor. His cry is a cry despair and childishness, faith in her innocence. Elena, seeing tears son, with tenderness, hugs him. For her more important total, to console boy and give to him, feel that she's nearby. She assures son that truth will prevail, confidently promising prove her innocence. Her calm and confidence give to him hope. Internal thoughts, Elena reveal that the situation could have become a convenient pretext for divorce, but it refuses go on this path. Leona watches the situation with a cold-eyed determination. She intends to prevent that Elena became a stepmother, Rubrio, hiding true motives. Elena, standing against Leone, offers find out the truth. Their tense dialogue raises heat confrontations. With cold, the gleam in Leon's eyes takes challenge, confident that will be able to win this conflict and humiliate Elena. Elena, confident in her rightness, causes Butler to begin exposure. She promises prove lies and demands to bring from Storage's special potion. The restraint in her voice is awe-inspiring. The butler bows and submits, bringing the bottle which Heroine cleverly manages. Her calm hides iron determination. Potion plays a key role in the planned by her trap. Having gathered the servants in a spacious living room, Girl boldly announces investigation. Surprise and discontent can be read on their faces, but her will is not subject to her control doubts. Theron, always holding on detachedly, approaches, demanding explanations. Elena retorts, assuring that looking for the guilty one without losing determination and dignity. The Duke is shocked mention criminal. His mistrust is changing indignation, but fragile, the woman does not give in pressure, maintaining self-confidence. Among gathered, she puts forward intriguing assumption. The culprit did not steal the jewel, but hid it her. Words sound how challenge, adding voltage. Leona, watching what is happening, understands that there's a storm coming. Elena, how skillful director, warms up expectations, turning meeting in the present performance. Emotional final reaches its peak when Heroine offers expose true the culprit. Everyone kept quiet breathing, and her determination inspires fear and admiration at the same time. Elena wonders what Leona is up to, watching her behavior. Her sight becomes wary when she notices uncertainty girls standing at a distance. Thoughts Elena point to her readiness to act in case of problems. Fael Edge Eyes notices how Elena is planning something. Her calm determination causes him interest. It is asked question, wherefrom she knows how to use potion that holds in hands. Elena confidently replies to Lord Pleon that will cope with the task. Her confidence is reinforced easy smile that calls respect from her interlocutors. Her words sound hidden mystery. Leona is suspicious, wondering how Elena is going to find the culprit. The girl's words filled hidden reproach, but her sight gives out tension, as if she is afraid revelations. Elena shows off a bottle of potion detections, explaining that this her main tool. Her gesture's confident, and the voice sounds firmly that causes in those around feeling trust. She tells that potion leaves mark on those who touched on the subject. Elena specifies that process takes no more than 5 minutes, causing the interlocutors were surprised. Elena looks at the decoration, knowing that to perform plan, you just need to spray potion. In her movements, it feels like confidence, and in the eyes sparkles cunning light. Leona is stunned request. Give Elena a few seconds decoration. Her fear and confusion, they give her what she has. What hide? It does not remain unnoticed. Leona is trying justify that potion, maybe spoil decoration, but her words sound unconvincingly. Her tension, they give away fear of what is to come, exposure. Elena calmly reminds that her accused of theft. Now she offers prove accusations or admit they're false. Her firmness and confidence finally take control of the situation. Leona, with difficulty hiding their emotions, bites lip, holding back irritation. Elena looks at her with a slight mockery. Elena mentions the possibility that potion may be damage necklace, what causes Leona noticeable anxiety. Presented by series emotional and tense events, demonstrating complex relationships between the characters. Theron, the Duke, looks unyielding and stern. His confident expression emphasizes his determination when he demands from Leona carry out his order despite her hesitation. Leona, clearly embarrassed, tries object, but her doubts are broken against the Duke's hardness. The Duke is open, declares to Leone that he will not allow it. Desecrations name his families. His words sound, how threat and warning, emphasizing significance happening to his honor and status. Leona, tense, is forced to obey. The scene shifts to Elena, the girl with flaming hair, who Theron gives away decoration. Despite their complex relationship, this gesture is surprising Elena. Her alertness is changing easy confusion. Theron suddenly apologizes to Elena. This seems contradictory to his character, but sincerity apologies makes her think about it. Her face reflects surprise and confusion when she is trying to comprehend what happened. Elena immerses himself in his thoughts, remembering the Duke's words. The scene takes on a romantic atmosphere voltage. Her environment becomes brighter, emphasizing her internal experiences and surge emotions. In this time, unfolds behind closed doors, conflict. Elderly woman desperately is trying break free, but Fail firmly holds her. His composure and determination leave her no chance. Fail transmits woman potion that should shed some light on what's going on. Her reaction filled with fear and despair. Potion is activated by emitting light, and the tension in the room reaches its peak. The Duke watches the proceedings with cold eyes. Rage. His gaze gives out indignation when the truth is revealed. His discontent emphasizes significance incident. Woman falls on his knees before the Duke, begging for mercy. But Theron, indignant her actions, remains unyielding. His anger clearly expresses how much honor and justice are important. In the Great Hall, Leona is nervous, is trying to justify oneself by mentioning forgiveness. How virtue? But the insincerity is obvious. Elena, with a cold determination, states that there is no place for the likes of she. The atmosphere is heating up. Elena directs accusing, look at the sitting woman, demanding explanations, her actions. The old maid lowers look. Her voice trembles with confusion and fear. The audience is tense are watching what is happening. Under intently, with a glance, Elna, woman with horror, pronounces that doesn't know anything. Her body weakens, and she falls to her knees. Leona looks around as if looking for support, but her cunning intentions are translucent. Duke of Theron explodes anger, demanding immediate punishments and exiles guilty. His words, as if thunder, force all freeze. Tension reaches limit. Leona begins panic. The maid is trying to explain that only performed instructions, Leona. Her pleas for mercy aggravate situation. After all, she points to the culprit. Leona is frightened, looks, trying to come up with justification. Leona accuses the maid of lying, calling her impudent a thief. Her face distorted rage, but fear gives away her real emotions. She desperately tries shift the blame. Leona accuses the woman in that she insulted both the master and his guest, demanding the most cruel punishments. Her words sound with a sharp cry. Her rage covers growing fear of exposure. Theron decisively states that will do all possible so that the truth does not leave the walls of the house. His icy sight makes all present keep quiet. Leona feels like situation comes out from under her control. Leona, with despair in her eyes, trying to understand why They look at her with disapproval. She accuses everyone is in injustice, but her words are only strengthened suspicions and anger of others. Leona is in a panic, continues make excuses, but her words are lost, meaning. Tension in the room becomes unbearable. Everyone understands that the lie will be soon exposed. Her confidence is collapsing. Elena carefully takes a step forward, and her companion in indecision asks question, suspecting her involvement in what happened. She confused answers without understanding how he might have come up with something like this thought, her voice trembling with confusion. Leona suddenly falls to the floor as if deprived of strength. Tears eclipse her eyes, and hers, the accusatory words, are directed at Duke Theron, who only sullenly watches the scene. She desperately reproaches him for his lack of trust. Theron hard sighs, holding his hand to his temple. He admits that he has no evidence, her guilt, and decides end an argument by avoiding further quarrels. His fatigue gives out tension, but it remains solid, having given the order to the butler escort Leona and lock her up, Theron leaves. His voice is full of ice. Indifference. Butler obediently agrees, and the light pouring from windows enhances the drama of the moment. Appears in the corridor young boy, with shining blue with his eyes. He timidly looks out from behind the door, and then rushes to Elena with joy exclamation. His smile illuminates all around, filling the room with warmth. Elena falls to his knees to hug boy. She tenderly assures him that I never doubted him for a moment, and a calm voice brings consolation. Boy smiles, feeling yourself in safety. With ease, smile on your lips, Elena pronounces that all now good. Her eyes are burning warmth, and its beauty is emphasized shining decoration on the neck. Her words penetrate into the heart, warming boy. Leona, having collected her thoughts, heads off somewhere. But here interrupt. Theron sharp asks where he goes. His cold voice makes her shudder. Her answer about Uncle's funeral sounds timidly. Sorrow, Leon's interrupted her, a plea for forgiveness escaping her lips. Looks like lost, her actions sometimes impulsive. Look, Torona remains strict, and Elena, standing nearby, watches this with a grin. Elena caught Theron in an unexpected situations. His face expresses worry, but he tries save calmness. Her question sounds persistently, awakening in Theron hidden feelings. Elena intently looked at Theron, who looked like confused and a little excited. He tried justify herself, but she unperturbed noted that his behavior was too much obvious to go unnoticed. The atmosphere was heating up. Theron collected his thoughts. His gaze became serious. He admitted that to him need to say something important. For now, this perhaps. There was determination in his voice. Although doubts and fears of her were clearly seething inside reaction, he stepped forward and apologized, lowering his head. Theron admitted that is experiencing shame for his weakness and doubts about Elena. His words sounded sincere, like a tempt restored destroyed bridges between them. Elena, staying unperturbed, reported that she had already expressed official discontent, family Hilson. She made it clear she wouldn't tolerate it. Disrespect, and even mentioned possible termination all business connections if they do not apologize. Theron is in a panic asked, enough whether he had already done it. But Elena, without changing expressions, faces, firmly answered that accepted measures, just right situations. Her confidence made him freeze. She stood up and headed for the door, saying only that thanks for the provided information. Theron remained behind, realizing that her determination not to be shaken. His confusion only got stronger. Elena noted to herself that even if apologies with sides families will be brought, they will not be sincere. In their words, as in their actions, will be only the falsehood that impossible hide. Servants with strained smiles bowed before Elena. She thought with disdain how much artificial were their smiles that hid internal anger or fear. This has strengthened her mistrust. Butler shared with Elena their own cruel thoughts about how can punish Leon. His proposal chop off the girl's hands caused Elena instant disgust, though she held back emotions. After long thoughts was accepted decision to expel Leon's from the mansion. Seeing how she was relieved Leaves house, Elena watched this with a cold, calmly, realizing that the truth is only in her side. Elena, whose life until recently time was full of hardships, receives unexpected support from the maids who are inspired her kindness and offer their company. Their sincere care touches heart girls. Her son, Rubrio, with a smile and glowing eyes, runs out towards mothers, calling her the most and important word. His sincere happiness awakens in Elena, feeling maternal pride. Elena realizes that her mercy towards exes, it turned out to be useful to the enemies. She managed to establish contact not only with ordinary people, but also with traitors who now her respect. However, her mood spoils appearance, Fael, whose presence makes her feel mass questions. She wonders why this knight all more stays close despite his responsibilities. Fael, addressing Rubrio, says that one day that can become a great knight. His words ignite in the boy spark inspiration, and in Elena, a certain feeling devotion to a man. Rubrio admires Fael and admits that dreams to be as strong and noble. Fael, smiling, confirms that in the future, Empire will receive another swordmaster. Elena, worried separation, asks Fael when he leaves their house. Her voice gives away excitement, but she doesn't get a precise answer, only a hint of his duty. Knight claims that his main duty, to protect weak. Elena, with irony, thinks that the Duke's wife is unlikely refers to this categories, but leaves their keep your thoughts to yourself. Her reflections interrupts unexpected news. Behind Fael sent messenger from palace. She feels relief, but understands that this will upset her son. Fael hints that would refuse an invitation if necessary her will. Elena, restraining interior conflict, only shrugs, leaving the last word is his. Elena, with a royal grace and cold with a glance, watches as Fael kneels before her. No one in the kingdom could curb masters of the sword, but his knees bow down just in front of her, full mysterious greatness. Among exquisite garden nights illuminated lunar light, Elna and Fael, as if enchanted. She looks at him from top to bottom, realizing that his devotion is not only debt, but also deep respect. In his eyes is reflected determination. His look speaks more than words, begging her to keep him with her. He doesn't ask, he craves. Order capable to link his fate with hers. He boldly squeezes her hand, forcing heart Elena hesitate. The internal monologue emphasizes greatness moment, the most outstanding knight all countries longs to serve her, becoming her defender. Elna, confused feelings, admits that he does not understand reason such devotion. What maybe offer she to deserve so much unconditional loyalty and talent? Fael, it is recognized, that became random witness her conversation with his son. These words awakened in him memories, reminded someone important and dear to him, calling wish support her. She decides, act consciously, so that never regret your actions. Elna reflects on the faithful decisions. Each her step is full cold calculation, but at the same time, internal warmth. In the image of Elena, he sees holiness and value that fills his heart with awe. He sees the one for whom ready fight, protecting with respect and caution. His request sounds sincerely, and he emphasizes that his skill will serve her and her family. Elena understands that such a union can become for her blessing. She notes that Fael is a human high morals, wanting him to realize his worth. She respects his talent, understanding that it was necessary to hide it from the world it would be unfair. Fael, thoughtfully looking at Elena, he recognizes her featured saint who once inspired him. His gaze is full of warmth and tenderness, as if he sees before him something sacred and comforting. Touching Elena's hand, Fael feels echoes in her gestures and words his lost ladies. This moment makes him wave memories and tenderness longing, intensifying his affection for the girl. Fael, in a fit of passion devotion, swears to Elena follow her will. He kneels before her, demonstrating absolute respect. Elena, watching this, remains calm, but inside is experiencing confusion. Remembering past, Fael admits their mistakes before the past. Mrs. He promises himself never let someone down, again reminds him about her. Holding back yourself from rash decisions, actions. Elena relieved sighs, realizing that Fael didn't guess about her secrets. Her face illuminated smile, but in her soul she remains on guard, trying to hide their true feelings. Thoughts Fael feels anxiety. He is worried that Elena agreed to his proposal so easily. Softness and determination evoke in him mixture admiration and doubt. Fael, I am convinced that fate will bring them. He is sure that soon will be found a reason to return to Elena, so that continue their interaction. Complete hidden tension and hopes. Elena raises question of possibility, go out into town, citing her brother's request. Her voice is calm, but in her eyes slips through sparkle hidden intentions. Suddenly, she remembers the night in a conversation with Fael. Her face is illuminated by bright emotions. This moment causes a slight anxiety, forcing her thoroughly choose words. Theron, reservedly interested in their night conversation. His question filled hidden jealousy and tension that adds drama in their not simple relationship with Elena. Elena asks Theron question, causing him embarrassment. She looks like confident and strict. Then, how Theron tries justify oneself by emphasizing that one does not suspect her in something bad. Tension, there is something in the air between them. Theron reflects on the past mistakes, regretting their own actions. Elena tells him that she learned about his past from one of his former servants. This mention makes him feel myself awkward. Elena Sharp finishes conversation, saying that she had nothing to add. She turns around with a majestic look, and Theron, caught taken by surprise her sharply, looks after her in confusion. Theron wants stop Elena, but his hand only barely concerns air when she leaves. He remains alone, closing the door behind him. Door. Her care leaves him with a feeling losses. Theron stands alone, thinking about the conversation. His face reflects mixture regrets and sadness. He is deeply sighs, putting his hand on his chest, as if is trying calm down myself. Rubrio, full enthusiasm, pulls Elena followed him to the market. His joyful face and sincere energy revive her. They both look like relaxed and happy despite recent events. At the market, Rubrio with pleasure tries sweets that Elena. I bought it for him. His smile and gratitude fill her heart warm. She watches him with tenderness. Elena presents Rubrio beautiful sword. In the eyes, boy lights up delight. He joyfully smiles, clutching a gift in his hands that seems to be for him especially important. Rubrio expresses his gratitude, admiring the fact that received mine, the first sword is from the mother. Elena looks at him with love. Her face illuminates tender smile. Elena suggests going home. She looks like peaceful, watching happiness sun. Their connection becomes stronger, and the past disagreements remain in the shadows, new light moments. Elena, surrounded fussy crowds at the market squares. Here's how Dealer Loud announces that the following are on sale things. Earlier belonged to the High Priestess of Sia. Words evoke a live interest from passers-by, and Elena, sharp having heard this statement. Elena, with surprise and alarm, realizes that announcement concerns her things from last life. Her heart, it becomes more frequent, and she decides personally, check this one information. Heading to the source noise. Dealer furiously assures surrounding that thing's genuine, and is outraged any hint of falsification. Crowd discusses quality and origin objects, considering their how priceless relics. Elena, without showing their own emotions, confidently fits closer. She intends personally consider things that were once so dear to her. Rubrio, following her, silently agrees. Dealer affably meets Elena, with enthusiasm telling about what things belong the great priestess. His smile and confidence create impression genuine pride in a unique product. Elena, surprised to see it on the counter, simple items that seem too much to her insignificant for sale at such a high price. This makes her feel bitter memories of the past. Her sight attracts ring with a small stone. She asks how much for it want. Trader calls the price that seems to Elena unbelievable overpriced. She thoughtfully looks at ring. Not wanting to raise an argument, she decides leave. Trader insists on his own price, stating that ring unique. Elena, holding back emotions, leaves, but in the soul feels injustice. Elena understands that ring has special meaning. Once upon a time, it helped her see Image's parents. Thanks, magic. This item was the only one connection with people dear to her. Clutching the pendant in her hand, she realizes that she can't just refuse. Elena decides that he will not leave ring that keeps such important memories of the past and family. Elena decisively instructs companions to escort Ruby home, insisting that she needed to complete an important task. It's about loneliness. Her concentration and persistence do not leave room for objections. Confident in her intentions, Elena hurries to the market. Approaching the merchant, she excitedly asks about the ring, but finds out that it was bought by literally a few minutes ago. She is perplexed, wondering who was able to pay for the ring that had so high price. Trader describes buyer. Was young man with bright appearance. Dealer indicates direction in which left stranger. Elena, without losing time, sets off on the trail. Her heart cover anxiety and the desire to get back what is important to her. Arriving at the specified place, she notices the house that makes her feel lung suspicion. Elena cautiously looks around, wondering where could hide buyer rings. You can hear it from the house, quiet sobs. Elena, filled with curiosity and anxiety, looks inside and notices figureman who it seems familiar to her, but she can't believe his own eyes. A man with bitterness pronounces words full of longing, calling her Supreme Priestess. Elena, shocked to realize what was in front of her human from her last life. This was Cassian. His face, manner, and voice ignited memories in her. Elena could not believe that again met someone who once occupied so important place in her fate. In front of her, with eyes get up paintings from past. She remembers their first meeting when he was a lonely child in need of protection. There seemed to be a connection predetermined. Elena immersed in thoughts about the tragic fate Cassian. The loss of his mother, who became victim conspiracy, forever changed his life. She feels that their meeting again intertwines their threads, destinies. After death, Mother's Cassian was subjected to cruel appeal with Side's royal families. that tempered his character and made harsh to others. This bitterness became his defense against a world that rejected him. Blonde Elena, seeing the despair of a lonely boy, decides to support him. She serves helping hand to him, realizing that in this world he has no one else lean on. Becomes the beginning of changes in life, Cassiana. Gradually, boy stops cry. At least scars remained in his heart. Thanks care. He is studying at Elena's to find warmth and trust in people again. That becomes ray of light in his life. Cassian starts smile, which no one has seen for a long time. His soul comes alive, and with each passing day, he becomes closer to being able to find interior peace, of which he missed it so much. Surrounded false accusations against his mother, he still achieves maturity and becomes heir throne at the age of 15. His strength and confidence are striking surrounding. Having met Elena, Cassian, it is recognized that exactly she gave it to him hope. Her presence supported him in the most heavy moments, and he is grateful for it. All soul, touching her hair, he begs her stay close. Elena became for him the only one to support, without which he cannot imagine his own the future. After all, she gave it to him, meaning. Cassian asks her, take care of him for the rest of his days. His voice is full of despair and hope that she won't leave him alone in the face fate, which was so cruel. He doesn't require marriage or promises. He asks only stay. Exploding sobbing, he begs don't leave her. After all, her care will become for him the final blow. Suddenly, a figure appears in front of him. Elena. Her appearance brings him back to reality, and now he is ready. Protect your own happiness and those who became for him important from any threats. Elena, with sincerity smile, apologizes for the misunderstanding regarding the ring. She reports that dealer told about his purchase, and it seems slightly embarrassed. Her words sounded with a hint of friendliness, but awaken hidden intrigue. Cassian, in the cloak, firmly states that ring for him has special value. His look and confidence in his words make it clear that he is ready. Defend one's position any at a price, without even thinking about the consequences. Elena, being curious, decides ask a question that haunts her. She wants to understand why he paid so high. The price would be ordinary trinket. In her eyes is on fire, wish to solve this secret. Cassian, he replies that the cost is not important to him. Rings. Decoration was connected with something dear to him, a man. His voice sounds calm, but full warmth and hidden sadness that touches Elena. Memories flooded over Elena, and she understands that this ring has for him personal value. It is revealed to her that Fael was not the only one who left trace in her life. Adding drama to it, reflections. Suddenly, tension between them intensifies. Cassian, it is recognized that Elena seems to him familiar, although he is sure that never seen her earlier. His words make Elena think about them connection. Elena, pay attention. Looking at Cassian, can't understand how he feels this is. She mentally is set question why men are so good are developing intuition. Her face expresses simultaneously amazement and lightness confusion. Concerned condition Cassiana. Elena notices that he looks tired. She expresses anxiety, suggesting that he is tormented insomnia, and suggests support. Caring studying his mood, Cassian with a light smile, he replies that he slept normally just 10 days ago. His words ring with a note of irony, but revealing hidden fatigue accumulated over this period, causing in Elena sympathy. Their views meet in a tense silence. Between them arises irresistible connection that both start realize. Elena and Cassian look at each other as if looking into the depths their general past. Elena, tormented the emptiness left behind after losses, couldn't sleep. Her thoughts were busy memories, and longing and sadness filled her heart. She tried to find the strength to cope with the surging emotions. Her gift is divine forces turned out to be effective against insomnia. Cassiana. Easy a cut on her hand was cured with the help of small shares. This forces that caused lung radiance showing her power. Elena, I thought that her power could put to sleep Cassiana instantly. Her thoughts carried away her in dreams about how it would be easy was, and he, peacefully sleeping, looked carefree, as if child. Cassian looked in the mirror and became worried. His appearance, asking the question, is how bad it is looks. Elena, watching him, slightly pricked him with words, emphasizing his excessive anxiety. Elena. Despite her concerns, Cassiana ordered him firmly. Stay put. Her words sounded like a command, and her confidence did not allow him doubt her intentions. Walking through the market square, Elena bought something from the seller. This small gesture of gratitude from her sides added ease her image when she continued beaming. Your way. She found herself in an empty space. Alley. Be careful looking back around. Externally, she looked like confidently, but her caution gave out tension. As if intuitively, she had a presentiment, something important. With ease smile, she handed the vessel to Cassian, offering it to drink. Her gesture looked simple, but in this was hidden subtext trust that she tried express. Cassian expressed distrust, assuming that the vessel can be poisoned. Elena, however, restraining herself, smiled, demonstratively took a sip, proving that the water was normal and safe. Elena held out the vessel again, but now with a challenge in her eyes. Cassian, a little confused, thoughtful, but the expression on his face softened. Their interaction acquired new shade trust and closeness. Elena, confidently having accepted decision, drinks water despite surprise. Cassiana. Her determination emphasizes the contrast with his unexpected reaction, creating an atmosphere of tension and intrigue. Situation changes when Cassian decides, take water, clearly striving save self-control. His actions suddenly calm, but this only enhances interest in what is happening. Understanding that cold water will help. He needs to come to his senses. Cassian concentrated drinks then causes Elena mixture irritation and surprise. The contrast between them characters, it becomes more and more obvious. Cassian, carefully analyzing situation, unexpectedly remembers something important. His look becomes focused, and intrigue is getting stronger. Elena tries to understand his emotions. After long, he seemed to be going to think, reveal their thoughts, but suddenly loses consciousness. Causes Elena mixed feelings, surprise and concern for his condition. Elena carefully watches Cassian, who now unconscious. In her eyes, readable tenderness, like as if she sees in him something more than just a person from real. Her thoughts are transported into the past, where she realizes that Cassian no longer a child as in her memories. This awareness makes her feel interior conflict related to their relationships. Elena, thinking about her in the past, recalls his role as supreme priestesses, but now she understands that should leave it behind to move forward and deal with real problems. She looks at the house, realizing that their life have changed and now it's time to accept new challenges. Internal calm comes to replace her, the same as before, experiences. Story is ending gentle by touch. It suits Elena Cassiana. She says goodbye to the past and decides what he deserves happiness despite the pain he went through. Elena, remembering past life, realizes that should accept inevitable, view she is full of determination, and her words sound as a mantra. Truth demands confessions. Her the past connected with the temple of Sia begins seep into her thoughts. Cassian opens eyes, wondering soft light streaming through window. His face expresses calm, but in it is felt awakening from a long oblivion. A man of restrained appearance appears nearby, kind of which embarrassedly asks how he feels. Cassian looks around, trying to figure out what happened. The morning silence seems to him strange, as if night suddenly turned into a day. He tries to figure out what went wrong, and the feeling confusion is getting stronger. He unexpectedly remembers past time and screams, surprised. His decisive movement reflects a sudden surge of energy, but the questions ringing in his head remain unanswered. His face expresses easy anxiety. Cassian, trying to figure out what's going on, with surprise realizes that recently everything was otherwise. In his mind, collide contradictions. Quite recently, there was night, and now day. He is confused by the absence logics. His look sharp focuses on the question of the girl whose presence felt quite recently. He was confused, asks question, his voice full of concern. However, the man only perplexedly looks at him. The man explains that all this time was nearby to no undisturbed peace. Cassiana. His face glows friendly smile, but the words seem lacking specifics. Cassian doesn't find necessary answers. With pain in his eyes, Cassian realizes that young woman disappeared. Her image is still alive in his memory, but reality no longer allows it. Hope for her return. His face expresses sadness and understanding losses. Internal feelings and memories begin to make him think about the similarities girls with the Supreme Priestess see. Her demeanor and depth look awaken in him, echoes of long-forgotten memories. He pronounces name, Geralda. These sounds are filled with longing and determination. The man standing next to him only confirms his guess, keeping respectful tone. However, answer leaves more questions than gives clarity. Elena, with red hair and eyes, asks Cassian, a man with dark blue eyes, find a girl with fiery red hair features. He, without asking extra questions, I agree help that makes her feel disturbing expectation. At the threshold of her house appears invitation from Royal Palace. Decorative envelope with seal straightaway calls, assumptions that her waiting something significant and inevitable. Elena finds out that, in the palace, they are organizing a ball in honor of foreigners' delegations. She realizes that refuse an invitation impossible, despite its doubts and hidden fears. Elena accepts solution, attend the ball. She has no choice, except how submit circumstances. And together with Cassian, she heads to the celebration, hoping to rise to the challenge. Surrounded by bright light and shine, she is from the palace hall, hears mocking comments about his marriage to Cassian. However, sight Elena is full of calm confidence. People whisper to each other, discussing rumors that Elena influenced the miraculous recovery son of the Duke. These discussions they force surrounding more carefully take a closer look at her. Elena hears from some of the guests were skeptical remarks about her Kroi divine powers. She saves cold expression faces, but inside her heart shrinks with indignation. Curiosity, Elena calls wish, find out how much the rumors about her are true. She weighs, stands, should we clarify the situation, or leave everything as is? There is. Leona approaches her, daring. Guest Bala, mockingly exposing doubt her role in the rescue child. Elena, unable to bear it, humiliation, sharply stops her. Elena grabs Leona by the hair, showing that he will not allow it to nobody violate the status of the hierarchy. Her anger, bright and sudden, makes the guests freeze in horror and admiration. Elena remembered an old incident when Leona almost got beat up hair rival. Despite the time, Leona's character remained same as before. Girl, I was thinking about how better tie up conversation to do without the unnecessary voltage. During ball organized in honor of the delegation kingdom's Giona, Elena celebrated modesty of the setting. It seemed even the guests showed no interest in what gave birth to her questions about necessity so faceless ceremonies. Her reflections interrupted Duke Theron, who suddenly expressed wish see her. Confusion flashed across Elena's face, but she kept restraint, trying to understand the reason for his actions. Theron apologized to Elena, saying that to him need to leave. Elena showed no surprise, just nodding. She tried hide your wariness as you watch him walk away. Leona noticed that Elena was left alone. It seemed to her a good moment for conversation. With determination in her eyes, she came up closer, but tried not to attract extra attention. Elena, seeing that there was someone nearby table with treats, decided try some of the dishes. Leona watched each her with a movement, clearly thinking about their next actions. When Elena chose seafood, Leona was amazed. In the past, Elena avoided them, but now it seems her preferences changed. This fact caused Leona confusion. While Leona was thinking, Elena turned attention to the dishes offered to her. There the appearance seemed enough appetizing, and she wondered if it was worth it their try. The servant served a platter of delicious seafood, advising to Elena their try. The girl accepted the offer with interest, noticing how for her, Leona does it with his back careful steps. Leona was overcome with doubts. Her thoughts were floating around changes, flavors, Elena. She tried to understand that could still change in this mysterious girl. In the past, ex-priestess Siege, there is a girl at the ball accidentally spills drink on dress, Helen, asking forgiveness with despair. Elena holds back anger, but mentally loses self-control, imagining how her patience is exhausted. The surrounding feel tension, but no one interferes. Elena examines spoiled dress, disappointed noting that the stain can't be washed out anymore. Eyes express cold indignation. This moment becomes for everyone obvious proof her character and control over emotions. Holding back rage, Elena decides that momentary weakness should not reflect on her reputation. Inside, she boils with indignation, having decided use this case to more stronger strengthen your authority. Cassian, demonstrating composure and charisma, suits the delegation from another kingdom. His confident voice and look fascinate, creating an atmosphere of tension expectations because it leads to an important conversation. Arrived delegates from kingdoms Jian, delighted by his hospitality, propose to discuss further cooperation. Their smiles, they give out friendliness, but tension in the room, it can still be felt. Cassian realizes importance moment, meeting delegation. He points out that the case that is being discussed is in progress under non-royal control family, and specifically him. His confidence does situation more tense, demonstrating confidence. Cassian assures their own interlocutors in importance partnerships. Delegation understands what they have opportunity enter the circle of trust, but the prospect of working with a powerful person worries me representative. One of delegates, embarrassed, admit that similar responsibility is not within his competence. His hesitation, they give out alarm, but Cassian continues insist, showing persistence. Cassian explains that the emperor himself interested in this project and recommends listen to him to the end. His determination and confidence convince delegates think about the proposal, leaving them without words. Elena, watching what is happening, understands that Cassian skillfully controls situation, and inside her is growing the realization that resist to him will more difficult than she expected. Cassian, dressed in an elegant outfit with a luxurious pattern, confidently speaks of the need weigh pros and cons before adopting solutions. His gaze is full of ambition, and the interlocutor respectfully confirms importance deliberate choice. Cassian, with satisfaction, smiles surrounded red roses, like preparing for an important meeting. His thoughts focused on Elena, and he anticipates the moment when we'll be able to be alone with her, impressing her his own presence. On the next one scene, red-haired girl in despair laments because of the spoiled one's curls that caused a storm of emotions. Next to her is another girl with easy smile remembers how niece was communicate with her, hoping for a quick completion incident. Elena notices someone's outstretched gesture of offering help. She was surprised, reacts to this surprise, considering how much sincere maybe be this act. Stranger with reds with eyes, looks like sincerely caring. Red-haired Elena, being the embodiment sophistication, calm confirms that everything is fine. Her smile, full charm, like speaks to those around her that she is pleased see friendly attention to your person. Bright light illuminates space that causes surprise in the blonde. She seems stunned happening, but quickly beret pull yourself together. Elena, with a shining gracefully, politely offers to discuss what brought her interlocutor to her. Girl with green with eyes is inspired the thought that this her chance to establish contact with Elena. Her decisive sight says that she is ready to use any opportunity to strengthen this fragile interaction. Crowd starts enthusiastically surround Elena, showering her with compliments. The blonde with bitterness watches this, calling their sycophants. She can hardly contain herself. Emotions. But he understands that he cannot simply retreat. Elena notices stain on dress girls, but quickly offers help. She offers her a spare outfit so that all fix by demonstrating care and understanding. Together, they rushing away, solving the problem. The situation ended easily relief. The blonde finds self-confidence thanks to support Elena. This one, a small detail, becomes the beginning of the potential trust and hints at possible changes in their relationships. Elena, the priestess from last life, faces rejection except her dress counted too much cheap. She apologizes, holding out a brooch with purple stone. Her emotions overflowing her when she parts with the decoration. The girl who received the brooch is delighted with its sophistication decorations and works jeweler. Elena sadly says goodbye to the jewel, consoling yourself by the fact that her act serves noble goals. Elena realizes that decoration really better fits the owner, and experiences relief. She is glad that her efforts brought joy to others, even despite the internal melancholy. Cassian, watching what is happening, is surprised. Unexpected vanity around Elena. It seems to him that she reminds him about a friend, personalities whose aura is always attracted people. Elena, tired after tense evening, looking for a moment of respite. She reflects on his condition, noting that she hadn't worn it for a long time, such uncomfortable but elegant high heel shoes. She notices in the distance Torona, thoughtfully standing alone. Her attention, he is attracted by the unusual appearance that makes her think about something unusual. Theron looks away and slightly smirks, watching what is happening with a cold face interest. It seems immersed in his own thoughts, hiding true intentions for calm expression. Elena notices that someone staring watches her and feels lung embarrassment. She ponders what could have caused it, this unusual interest in her person. Theron continues watch Elena while hiding their true feelings behind the facade of indifference. His attention focused on her movements, but he carefully avoids open emotions. Elena, surrounded flowers, realizes that her presence causes in those around set questions. She feels myself as if heroine plays in which all attention is focused only on her. Elena, with charming smile, coquettishly looks at the young guy, reminding him about rumors that aristocrats sometimes are attracted to bachelors. Her confidence and magnetism make interlocutor embarrassedly freeze. A guy with a slight self-confidence correcting hair thinks that his charm distinguishes him from others. Smiling, he inwardly enjoys his ability to charm all around and catch admiring glances views. The servant gives the guy a note from Elena. He is surprised, but quickly overcomes. This feeling, his face illuminates curiosity. Excitement captures him, and the anticipation possible meetings makes move faster. Elena. She watches him from afar, gesturing for silence, as if hints that what's happening should remain a secret. Her mystery and lightness playing with the situation give events intrigue. The guy holding the note resolutely is sent to the appointed place. His quick steps give away impatience and excitement. In his thoughts reigns admiration Elena, and a smile confirms his confidence in the upcoming meeting. Cassian Dots, watching what is happening, is irritated and indignant. He looks at the scene with distrust and contempt, follows the guy, believing that Elena is unworthy of such a banal hobby. His face expresses obvious discontent. Cassian suddenly blocks the guy's path, snatching the note from him. A conflict arises between them, tension, and each is trying prove your own superiority. Cassian looks at the opponent with a cold challenge. After reading the note, Cassian notices that Elena decided to make fun of the guy by pointing out what he's wearing pants backwards. This find causes him loud laughter. Then what does the guy look like, confused? Cassian, that's it. More laughing, enjoying situation, finding joke Elena charming. He admires her wit, and the guy remains perplexed, not understanding how found himself in the center of this funny scenes. Cassian reflects on how Elena reminds to him Supreme Priestess from past. Her kindness, light, and aura are like embody the image of the one who is no longer there. It seems as if fate itself gave the opportunity the great soul will appear to the world again. After death, Supreme Priestesses. These are Cassian sinks into despondency, experiencing feeling depression. He can't sleep normally and loses appetite. Food seems to him extra, and he asks put away her, continuing internally suffer. Debt and work lose all meaning for Cassian. He sits at his desk, surrounded by papers, but doesn't even try there to disassemble. His thoughts, busy loss, and responsibilities seem to be heavy burdens. Despite the fact that Cassian Almore takes up prestigious position thanks to past achievements, does not inspire him at all. He feels empty, having lost motivation, live and act. Unexpectedly, he learns that the soul of the Supreme Priestesses, these are all more is in this world. This news awakens in him interest and hope. Perhaps not everything lost, and he will be able to change something. Melvin, a half-elf with the gift of prophecy, tries support Cassiana, but that one configured skeptical and does not trust Melvin's words, considering they're ridiculous until he meets someone who changes all. Meeting Elena, a woman with bright red hair and eyes, becomes a turning point for Cassian. She awakens long-forgotten feelings in him. Feelings, forcing you to look at the world in a new way. However, Cassian doubts the veracity words Melvina. After all, the idea of the transmigration of the soul of the deceased human into the body, Duchess's, seems to him fantastic and absurd. However, the inner voice forces think about it. He starts suspect that is keen on illusions that can turn out to be false. Cassian understands that he may regret it, but in his soul again lights up sparkle hopes. Importance Elena, for him, becomes all more obvious. His feelings for her become undeniable. He goes to her searching, asking where she now located. Elena tries hide your wound to no one noticed her weaknesses. She feels that should stay strong, but her thoughts filled anxiety and attempts to understand what do next. Elena, gracefully sitting in a lush dress, notices suddenly appeared Cassiana, what makes her feel deep confusion. His confident gait and soulful the gaze is instantly focused attention on it, awakening tension in the air. Cassian apologizes for the suddenness his own visit, explaining that there were no other options I didn't have the chance to meet him alone. His serious tone emphasizes importance conversation he intends to have. Elena rises, showing respect for Cassian, and greets him with a refined dignity. Her external calm hides internal excitement that increases with each passing day. In a second, this unexpected meetings. Cassian asks put off formalities, reminding to Elena about how they communicated in the past. His words sound, how hint at them, special connection, forcing Elena think about the meaning these memories. She brings apologizing for not recognizing him earlier, showing humility and sincerity. There is a note of humility and sincerity in her voice, hope for understanding, but in her still in the eyes noticeable alertness. Cassian, trying calm down. Helen explains that he came not for punishment, but to again meet her. His words make her splash emotions, but she remains collected, hiding their feelings. He admits that she reminds someone important to him, that makes Elena think about the past and their possible connections. However, her inner voice begs that the truth did not emerge outward. Elena starts to understand that Cassian suspects about her true personalities. His hints become more obvious, and the tension between them, it intensifies. But she tries hold on, showing external calmness. She asks question, already knowing answer, and makes it clear that he probably studied her past. Her confidence at this moment is mixed with internal doubts and fears. Elena looks at Cassian with determination, hiding her anxiety. The question of her past becomes central, but she does his best to keep the truth in the shadows, despite his attempts to penetrate her soul. Cassian looked at Elena with sadness and doubt, realizing that his feelings too much contradictory. He tried save cold expression faces, but experiences inside him tore his soul apart, like as if something important was lost. Elena, as if sensing his torment, carefully touched his hand. The question in her look was silent but deep. She, as if she wanted to understand what made him so desperate, compress her fingers. His answer called in her eyes silent challenge. In front of her, mental with a glance, surfaced images from past. Snow-white roses surrounded little Cassian. His pure sight was full of trust and tenderness. But her lips, they were shrinking with determination. She was sure, obliged to protect him. Elena tried to calm down Cassiana, trying to explain that he is tired and that his thoughts confused. Her soft gestures and sincere words were called upon, convince him that it's not as bad as it seems. Although in her heart, same fear nested. He clenched his fist. Bitterness shone through in his every move. His words sounded as if he was blaming yourself for the past mistakes. Elena, she realized that he doubted not her, but himself, and this hurt her. Breaking the silence, Cassian admitted that all much more difficult than it seems. His voice was full of contradictions, but there was hope in it that Elena will be able to understand his suffering and everything that stands behind them. Elena froze in surprise when she heard your own name spoken, Cassian, with barely hidden excitement. His gaze penetrated into its essence, forcing remember those moments that she tried for a long time forget. Theron, seeing their tense dialogue, reservedly intervened. His voice sounded demanding, as if he was trying to bring Elena back to reality. She involuntarily felt myself clamped between two worlds, their own past and present. Elena handed over a small bundle Cassian, making him slightly surprised. In her movement was read determination, and the look expressed something more than just a request. Cassian froze, unsure of how to respond. Cassian tightly squeezed bundle in hand, wondering about her motives. He looked calm, but in his eyes was red alarm. At that moment, into the room entered Theron, and tension instantly became tangible. Theron saw Elena and immediately turned to her intent attention. His voice wavered as he turned to her, noticing in the room presence Cassiana. Questions froze in the air, and the atmosphere grew tense. When Theron asked about the reasons for the presence Cassian, he, trying hide awkwardness, calm justified. However, the tension did not leave his face, and Elena only silently watched them squabble. Theron finally translated look at Elena, clarifying that she did hear. Her answer was unconvincing, but the hint of a problem with her legs added a note of concern to his intonation. Elena abandoned look at Cassian, noting that shows excessive confidence despite the presence Torona. In her, the idea crept into my thoughts that his behavior may be dangerous. Cassian confidently came out from rooms, making it clear that we'll decide her problem. He left behind impression a person who can cope with anything task, even despite the stress relationship with Theron. Theron approached Elena, anxiously asking, "Everything, is she okay?" His voice betrayed sincere worry, but she only evasively answered, "Trying hide your own state." Elena felt despair, realizing that he came to heal yourself as earlier. In her look was regret about the past when her forces could help in any situations. Theron, noticing her oppressed condition, again expressed concern. Elena, looking at him, realized that check your own state. Now it's impossible while he's so persistent is watching her. Elena, holding back anger, looked at her aunt, who once humiliated hers. Hers, past, was filled with pain and memories of injustice, but now she felt the power ready to change her life. In the past, when she for the first time dared resist his aunt, she said that all of her hopes and plans will soon collapse. This was humiliation that Elena remembered forever. Elena remembered woman Tiso, Lady Cillian, who has tried more than once break her spirit. But even then, Elena, who has not yet realized his internal strength, I couldn't show her mine real emotions. As she passed by Theron, she covered Trace's pain in the cheek. Despite the tense relationship with him, she didn't want to show him his weakness, convincing him that everything is fine. She smiled, but memories of the past, all they still tormented her. She realized how much the past events influenced her self-esteem and perception of the world, hiding under masked true feelings. Theron felt her internal struggle, but could not understand its true motives. Her words sounded soothing, but there was a hint of hidden the pain that she's trying so hard hid. When door slammed shut loudly, Elena was left alone with their own thoughts. She never looked for help, preferring to cope with to everyone myself, but this only strengthened her loneliness. Trying hard, restore your own mood. She started a conversation with Theron, but she was difficult to believe that he could understand her pain. Her tone became all harder, reflecting her internal voltage. Theron reminded that pain is something that all people experience. Elena wondered if it was really her suffering the same as others, and is it in this justice? She finished by admitting that even minor discomfort can cause suffering. Elena felt that Theron is unable to understand her completely, but this did not break her determination fight for yourself. Elena, in a fit of passion anger, reproaches Theron in absent sensitivity and the ability to empathize. Her burning the eyes and harsh tone reflect accumulated pain and disappointment in their not simple relationships. When Theron suggested ask for help doctor, Elena categorically rejected his proposal. Reservedly, but defiantly, she stated that such the trifle is unworthy of his attention, demonstrating independence. Barely, as she walked away, she thought that she might be too much sharp, but her pride did not allow her to admit it. She continued keep confidently, hiding confusion behind the mask of cold dignity. In her room, knocked with a message that Theron insists on treatment her wounds. Elena, keeping hardness, ordered convey that there is no need for help, emphasizing your own contempt for his intervention. Later, sitting at the table, Elena enthusiastically, I was sorting it out documents, thinking about how to return the land. No time transmitted Theron. Her determination and focus emphasized seriousness intentions. Theron, unable to bear it, burst into the room. His irritation and anger were obvious, but hidden behind them, some concern. He tried to find out why Elena is so stubborn rejects his participation. He was convincing she shouldn't let him hate her, interfere with receiving the necessary help. There was a hint of it in his words. Hidden care. But Elena answered only icy indifference. Elena, she firmly said that she can cope on her own, without needing someone else's help support. Her confidence and refusal accept his help more made angry Torona, forcing him to insist. She tried to convince Torona. What her problem is minor and has already been solved. Calm and indifference looked like, how challenge it? More deepening abyss between them. Elena ended the conversation by emphasizing that pain passed instantly and intervention, doctor, unnecessary. She left Theron in disarray, continuing demonstrate your own unyielding attitude. Elena felt fatigue from a protracted conflict with Theron. Her thoughts wandered between desire to finish this marriage and indifference to what he could to feel. It seemed to her that divorce is the only one exit. After another one quarreling, Theron became avoid her. His coldness was tangible as a wall. Elena, wounded this behavior, decided not to show weaknesses and answer to him with the same indifference. Rubrio, accustomed to family scandals, worriedly watched the sudden alienation parents. It's hard to understand why after seeming reconciliation, everything became even more worse, got tense at dinner. Family sat in a tense silence, and Rubrio, trying to clear the air, he asked Elena, what happened? Her answer sounded softly, but hinted at the difficulties in the relationship. Elena saw how sincerity her son evokes in him deep emotions. He barely held back tears, not understanding why their family is collapsing. Elena, I felt like the words were cutting her heart. She tried to console Rubrio, assuring that friendship between people is possible even after quarrels. His face shone with hope, and his joy infected Elena, returning warmth to her soul. Boy, naively rejoicing according to her, he asked if they would return whether his parents are with the former intimacy. Elena I was surprised by his directness, but I couldn't find the strength to disappoint him. Theron suddenly intervened, calmly declaring that nothing will change. His coldness shocked Rubrio, but Elena immediately took the initiative, deciding distract son and keep his faith. With a smile, Elena came up with a funny idea history, saying that Theron there is a secret associated with the night transformations. This is knocked down, the boy was confused, but it caused him curiosity. Theron was clearly not thrilled by the joke's wives. He tried to stop her, but this only increased the tension between them, turning their dialogue in the game where every tried go out the winner. Elena, red-haired woman with fire through the eyes. It turns out to be difficult situations. Theron, her husband, unexpectedly does bold statement, closing her mouth so that save face in front of them, son Rubrio. Elena is clearly shocked and confused. You can see the shock on her face when she ponders seriousness words to Rona. This moment catches her taken by surprise. She doesn't believe that he could do similar statement without warning. Theron calmly but confidently looks at Elena despite her protests. His gaze is full of determination, as if he is in control situation, even if she is clearly unhappy with his actions. Rubrio, there the son beams with happiness after hearing his father's words. He sincerely rejoices, believing that his parents finally found general language that calls warm a smile on his face. Elena, holding back irritation, agrees with the situation so as not to disappoint Rubrio. Despite this, in her look noticeably tension, and in a smile, hidden discontent. Deep inside, she wonders how things got this far. Her tense sight gives out emotions, but Theron, as if not noticing, continues maintain the atmosphere. Theron finds words to soften situation, assuring Elena, in her desire, make everything comfortable for her. But this calls only more indignation in her in the eyes, especially when he talks about doing promises. Elena, holding back flash anger, sharply responds by insisting on additional conditions. She intends to emphasize their independence and discontent established situation. Her words about the new beds sound, how challenge. Elena tries to show that, despite the circumstances, she is ready to stand up for herself their borders, even if situation seems absurd to her. Theron, a little bit confused, trying to keep calm. He understands what's at stake. Happiness their son, but with every word of Elena realizes that her inflexibility only enhances voltage. Elena, realizing necessity, spend the night in one room with Theron due to circumstances, puts under doubt his intentions. Her anger exposes mistrust and the tension hidden in them complex relationships. Theron is trying justify oneself, frightened, denying accusations. His confusion and attempt explain oneself emphasize how much difficult remains their mutual understanding, despite the past tests. Elena turns away coldly, dissatisfied with his explanation. Theron, dejected, apologizes to her, demonstrating his vulnerability and desire to find common ground. Language, Kais, even if past interferes. This do. Elena laughs at what is happening, showing sarcasm. Suddenly, her attention attracts the voice, and she turns to him, still preserving external calm, but inside her overflowing emotions. She recalls how they still spent the night in one room, dividing inconvenience. Morning light penetrates through windows, creating the illusion of peace, although the tension is felt. Theron greets best wishes to Elena in the morning, what suddenly softens their tension. She catches his gaze, trying to understand, really lie this is a step forward, or just politeness. Morning greeting ritual changes dynamics their relations. Easy smile on both faces hints at the possibility a truce, albeit temporary, for the sake of the future. Joint breakfast turns out unusual. They sit down at the table where there accompanies Rubrio. Warm family atmosphere seems shaky, but still gives hope for the best. Rubrio enjoys the moment, noticing changes in mood to Rona. He reminds us of in the past, when father was more cheerful, trying to awaken the same sincerity in the present. Elena notices how sun unites them, returning echoes previous days. Despite the difficulties, the feeling families is reborn, giving they have a chance to start all over again. Elena feels like lately, time atmosphere in the family changed, and this makes her feel mixed feelings. Theron seems pleased to achieve truce, but in the air anyway is hovering voltage. Past a week since Elena and Theron grew closer while spending nights together. However, she still feels barrier in their relationships, interfering to a real rapprochement. The servant reports Elena. What Theron wants, give her a gift. His behavior looks like formal and slightly tense, as if he observes formalities, and does not act in good faith at will. Elena, despite her interest, does not understand why needed such formality. She is set question what hidden behind this gesture, and in her eyes is reflected lung astonishment. She receives a letter bearing the seal of the Duke of Hilson. The envelope bears an elegant coat of arms, and the very idea of sending makes her feel mixed feelings, anxiety and curiosity. Elena, wondering who could send a letter. Seeing the family seal Lady Leona, she remembers recent events involving intrigue and conflict. That adds voltage. She opens the letter and reads an apology that I did not expect. The Duke assures that he has no attitudes towards the past events and hopes for a resolution misunderstandings caused the actions of his house. Theron reads the letter, but he is not satisfied. He thinks answer insufficient and waiting more deep apologies. His determination and anger are getting stronger with each line. Elena, watching the anger to Rona, calm down, advises to him do as he thinks necessary. There is a note in her voice simultaneously, fatigue and indifference, emphasizing that she doesn't want to anymore take part in this conflict. Her leaving with flowing hair becomes a symbol of her internal solutions, move away from the endless intrigue and clarification. She is ready to leave the past behind, focusing on himself. Boy Rubrio runs through the green lawn with a wreath from flowers in his hands. His face illuminated joy, and he calls Elena, holding the gift for her with trepidation. Elena smiles, feeling the warmth of his gesture. Elena reflects on what Leona, even with her apology, would this just for formality. Her thoughts fills sadness and memories of how she hopes for sincerity in the relationship. Rubrio with shining smile stretches out the wreath he made. His happiness, transmitted to everyone around. Elena only wishes that Leona would not be disturbed anymore, their family, and son remained just as carefree. Marquise's mansion, Solstiana, appears majestic structure. The carriage slowly drives up to his gate, reminding him of the upcoming important conversation and heaviness situations. Leona, elegant dressed, comes out from carriages. She reservedly but confidently walks through the mansion's garden. A servant greets him, her, noting that he hadn't seen her for a long time. That adds tension of the moment. Leona announces her wish meet the Lady Cillian. Servant with respect confirms and prepares accompany her, realizing that meeting will important and perhaps difficult. He shares that Madame Cillian in recent days especially lonely, and she will be glad to see Leona. Leona wonders why she's been so long put it off visitee, feeling interior conflict. When they ask what prevented her from coming earlier, Leona shares that happened unexpected events. Her voice is filled shade regrets and doubts. The servant reassures Leona that Madame Cillian with pleasure will listen her and will be able to give valuable advice. His confidence gives it a little bit courage. Leona quietly expresses hope that meeting will pass fruitfully. In her words, you can hear internal struggle, but also the desire to find answers to their questions. Leona, accompanied by servants, approaches the rich woman living room where she is already waiting Lady Cillian. The setting is luxurious, and the majestic aristocrat, sitting on an elegant chair, with curiosity awaits stories, guests, hinting at desire, hear something interesting. Leona, dressed in elegant dress, graceful enters the room, bowing his head in respect. Despite her irreproachable appearance, light uncertainty is read in her movements, and a look that is not hidden from the mistress of the house. Cillian, without losing his restrained courtesy, gesturing to Leona to sit down next to her. The girl thanks her, sitting down on the soft sofa. There is a note in her voice, barely elusive trembling, that transmits her internal tension. After short, Leona pauses and admits that she recently paid a visit nephew Cillian. She tries to speak calmly, but her expression gives out confusion. This hint makes hostess tense up in anticipation unpleasant continuation. Leona says that one of the maids of the Urnian house publicly accused her in theft. This statement makes her feel tears that she is trying hide. Her voice trembles, and her fingers involuntarily squeeze hem dresses. Anger covers Cillian. She is indignant, similar appeal with his guest. With harsh words, she condemns unprofessionalism of servants and weakness the mistress of the house, unable to control their own subordinates. Giving in rage, Cillian promises punish guilty. She considers it is unacceptable that so beautiful girl humiliated similar accusations, and full determination not to leave this without consequences. Calming Leona, Cillian tightly hugs her, giving feel support. Her warmth words and hugs help young to the girl calm down tears. Gratitude and relief are reflected on Leona's face. In this time, at the Urnian house, Elena learns that the lady herself has arrived to visit them. Cillian. Her face freezes in surprise and alarm. Elena feels that behind this visit is hiding something greater than formality. Cillian furiously expresses your own discontent, Elena, demanding that she leave the house. Her stern tone and threatening expression, they don't leave faces, doubts about the seriousness intentions. Elena looks like depressed, as if under the gravity of the charges. Elena, finding herself next to Theron, is involuntarily struck by his sincerity smile, that she never, I haven't seen this before. This awakens mixed feelings in her feelings, but appears nearby Lady Cillian with unwavering with a glance. Emphasizing tension moment, Lady Cillian demonstrates his coldness and says that the visit won't drag on. The atmosphere in the room becomes tense, but her words make it clear that she arrogant attitude. In memories mentioned tragedy, Elena, having lost parents, she remained in the care Lady Cillian, who, having received power over the estate, Urnian began to carry out her will, emphasizing her severity. Lady Cillian remembers the past, when, despite her position, Elena never got closer to her. These thoughts are reflected on her face, creating dark and disturbing mood. Elena stands with determination expression faces. She remembers how Lady Cillian effectively ran the family Urnian, manipulating by all. This awakens in Elena distrust of women. Trying to be polite, Elena apologizes to the Lady Cillian, but her sight gives out hidden emotions. Her words sound sincerely, but internally, the struggle with mistrust does not disappear. Lady Cillian notices that he doesn't want to bother owners in such a late hour. Her cool tone and outgoing silhouette emphasize her indifference to those present, leaving Elena with her thoughts. Theron says goodbye to the Lady Cillian, keeping neutral expression faces. Elena watches him, trying to understand what hidden behind his words and indifference. Lady Cillian gives away order servant, so that followed her. The commanding tone emphasizes her inflexibility, showing that she got used to unquestioning subordination. Elena feels unkind intentions, Lady Cillian. Her sight becomes suspicious, but gloomy thoughts confirm that relationship with this woman again will be testing for durability. Elena, the girl with fiery hair, is heading towards the doors when hears behind his back excited cry. She turns around. Her expression surprise says that what's happening makes her feel anxiety. Alarmed housemaid runs up to Elena and starts explain situation. Her trembling words convey despair. Lady Cillian demands that all accounting books be delivered in order to check them for inconsistencies. Housemaid reports that Lady Cillian suspects shortcomings and personally will take care of search for violations. Her fear of possible anger lady obvious. Elena feels increasing voltage. Housemaid adds that Lady Cillian already knows about the recent incident with Anna. This stunning Elena, after all such details should not be, were to become famous. In her head is born suspicion. Elena remembers gray-haired a woman with a face full of discontent. The elderly lady always was different rigidity. Why? She again arranged this one check. Elena understands that all this is not without reason. Her thoughts concentrate on Lion, which has long been a concern for Elena mistrust. She realizes, behind everything this costs Leona, precisely, skillfully weaving intrigue in the house. Elena, she clenches her fist, a flame flares up inside her determination. She firmly decides that he will not allow himself to be put in a humiliating position. The situation will be fight manipulation, Lady Cillian. Meanwhile, chaos reigns in the house. Lady Cillian expresses your own discontent, accusing the servants of laziness. She loud requires discipline, without leaving places, excuses. Assembled servants are embarrassed under pressure from the Lady Cillian. Her voice resounds above the heads of the servants, instilling fear. She requires full devotion, interests family, and order. Elena appears before everyone with a determined look. She asks why Lady Cillian allows herself to raise her voice. In her look reads strength and readiness restore justice. Helena's maids worriedly look at each other when in the room is distributed loud voice Lady Cillian. Her severe the look and harsh words make all freeze, and Elena saves equanimity despite the obvious heat. Lady Cillian expresses fears that actions Elena can undermine position families. She accuses it is that rumors about the unworthy behavior is already spreading, and requires explanations without holding back indignation. Elena reservedly is interested the essence of the charges, but the Lady Cillian doesn't let her justify herself. She speaks of the shame caused her maids, and is indignant that Elena allows himself to remain so cold, tremble in fear at the words elderly ladies. And Elena calmly reminds that accusations are based only on rumors. She adds that the honor of the family was protected, not defamed. That makes me angry, Cillian more. Elder woman in rage puts under doubt motives Elena, to which she points out that real reason all troubles are false rumors. Lady Cillian is amazed by the confidence with which Elena defends myself. Elena decides ask counter question, clarifying, where does the accuser have sides provided evidence? This phrase makes the Lady Cillian confusion and makes her doubt the justice their own words. Without losing composure, Elena explains that nephew Lady Cillian sent family Hilton an official letter, but Leona refused to apologize for your actions. This becomes an unexpected turn for the elderly women. Lady Cillian starts understand that the charges could have been premature, and it is amazing that Elena so fine prepared. She forced admit that Leona may have shied away her responsibility. Elena offers Cillian confirm Terrace has his own words, who will be able to clarify the situation. Her calm and confidence produce impression, and Lady Cillian still doesn't find that object. Elderly woman falls silent, realizing that arguments Elena are indisputable. Their tense dialogue ends when Elena finally demonstrates your own superiority, maintaining dignity and composure. Elderly woman, Lady Cillian, angrily requires explanations why one of maids dared disobey her orders. She shouts, accusing everyone is in short supply disciplines, clearly demonstrating irritation and indignation. Elena, calm and confident, reminds that the maid about whom is coming speech is on sick leave. It subtly points to excessive strictness, Lady Cillian, and her unfair accusations, protecting the staff. Elena decisively asks question, posing under doubt priorities Lady Cillian. She asks, really, is it the so-called discipline more important the Duke's health? Showing his concern for the family and the situation in the house. Elena's words are stunning, Lady Cillian, leaving her silent. At that moment, into the room enters Theron, who reservedly watches the tense dialogue between women, slowly interfere. Theron asks the servant, did she check? Lead Lady Cillian the books of account which he brought. For this, he receives answer that Elena has already completed this task, surprising him with his attentiveness and thoroughness. The maid notices that Lady Cillian didn't find it. Nothing compromising in books, therefore decided to direct my resentment towards employees. Elena insightfully catches her motives and restrains your own indignation. Elena politely says that the ladies request Cillian consider the accounting books were incorrect, but she is ready to accept this how manifestation caring for her nephew. She saves confidence and dignity. Lady Cillian admits that it seems to her unfair usage name Lady Leon's for her detachment. However, deep down she understands that the motives are not as selfless as wanted would. Elena reproaches Lady Cillian in reluctance admit the obvious. She preferred would see Leona as a duchess. Elena speaks this calmly but firmly, leaving the interlocutor in confusion. Lady Cillian can't contain anger and resentment. She screams, shocked by how Elena dared to say so. Her indignation reflects her powerlessness before skill Elena to defend their positions. Hand of the Lady Cillian soared upward, expressing contempt. Elena suffers rudeness with her sides, her eyes full, restrained anger and humiliation. Words of the elderly women sound like a blow. Her malice is obvious. Elena lowered her gaze, hiding their feelings. Lady Cillian puts under doubt her dignity be part family's. It rolls in heaviness memories, but the girl saves self-control without showing it, weaknesses. Butler, with a timid smile, reports that unwanted the guest may stay for a while. There is fear in his voice, because Lady Cillian is clearly determined against Elena and her presence in the house. The servants froze in tension, watching as Lady Cillian with irritation instructs the butler to see Elena off. Her words sound like an order, and the atmosphere in the room, it's heating up. The maids hurriedly offer their help. Their faces express diligence and fear of not fulfilling instructions. They assure that Elena will immediately expelled, showing loyalty his to the hostess. Elena dragged to the exit, her cries of resistance ignored. Maids act cruel as if perform debt. The noise reaches Theron, who concerned happening and in a hurry figure out. Theron faces chaos, his face complete surprise and indignation. He sees his wife, whom they push out like extra thing. His voice fills with anger. He demands explanations. He approaches the event with a determined step, asking the Lady Cillian, what here is happening? His eyes, they sparkle, and you can read in them readiness to defend justice despite the tension's relationship. Lady Cillian meets nephew with a smile, hiding his own behind it contempt. She, with visible indifference, accuses Elena in bad house management, clearly justifying their actions. Theron stunned her words, but does not believe excuses. His attention is directed to Elena, whose silence speaks louder any words. Her pain and resentment fill air heavy voltage. Elena, confronted by the Lady Cillian, hears accusation of one's own allegedly obscene behavior. Lady Cillian outraged that Elena, in her words in my opinion, never learned manners, and decides teach her a harsh lesson by swinging his arm to strike. Elena looks at his aunt, surprised her sudden cruelty. View the girls are determined, but the Lady Cillian clearly intends show your own superiority without regard attention to feelings, Elena. Lady Cillian accuses the girl in that, previously, she did not dare to contradict her, and with defiance requires explanations why now she leads myself otherwise. Her words sound, how rebuke for disobedience. Theron appears in the field of vision, and with a cold bewilderment, remembers a situation he had not previously addressed. Attention to behavior, Lady Cillian. His thoughtfulness is changing irritation. Lady Cillian continues to lecture Elena, humiliating the girl for her origin and behavior. Elena can hardly contain her self-tears, head down, and Theron is watching this a scene with a gloomy determination. Elena tries to convince herself and others that she is okay, although her voice trembles. She tries to smile while hiding pain and humiliation, but Theron feels that something is going wrong. Theron insightfully notices that Elena is not as sensitive to pain as should to be. This is more worries him because he sees how much deep she hides their real emotions. Finally, Theron decisively intervenes, demanding that Lady Cillian left them house. His voice sounds harshly and categorically. He defends Elena, what shocks the Lady Cillian. Theron publicly states that Elena is his wife and mistress of this house. His words sound firm and unwavering, and Elena, hiding in his arms, feels yourself in safety. Lady Cillian understands that Theron won't let her anymore. Humiliate Elena, neither in words nor actions. Shocked by his determination, she forced retreat, leaving there together. Elena, the girl with fiery red hair, clasped her hands, realizing importance moment. She stood with her back to the threshold of the house, demonstrating determination leave. Theron watched her. His gaze was full of excitement and regret. The man called out her by name. Her voice trembled with emotion. Elena did not turn around. Her silhouette was full of dignity and sadness. Theron, tormented feeling guilt. He felt the words stuck in his throat, and the past weighed on him. Theron looked into her eyes, saying apologies. His face expressed sincere remorse. He realized how much badly treated her before. Elena listened to his words, remaining cold-blooded. But inside her, my heart was beating alarm. On his knees before Elena, Theron confessed his fears. He was afraid to lose her forever. Night, the air, and the surrounding silence heightened the drama of his confession. His pose was full humility, despair, and hope. Theron asked, "Give he has a chance to redeem himself their mistakes, swearing that will do everything for her happiness." Elena looked at him with distrust, but inside it began to emerge confusion. His voice sounded honestly, like he really is changed. Elena replied that wants to understand his motives. Her eyes were glowing brighter in the moonlight light, expressing mixture pain and the desire to find the truth. She waited for him to say something, feeling like her protection begins to collapse. Theron admitted that I realized how dear it is to him, Elena. Just having realized her loss. He was afraid, regrets that will torment him for the rest of his life if he doesn't try to get her back. His words' echo spread through the air, filling the pause fateful conversation. Elena, with bright red hair and eyes, is in a state confusion. She decides put off conversation, realizing that the night had already come, but in it look readable anxiety. She is clearly struggling with internal doubts. Sitting alone, she reflects on his behavior. She admits their mistakes and repents, feeling that she acted wrongly as wife. This torments her soul, leaving deep trace. Elena recalls that she began her story with Theron with deception, but her feelings for him always were sincere. She wants to her perceived seriously, not like helpless creation, and this her home dream. This, the dream finally comes true, and a spark flares up in it. Hope, Elena takes off the bracelet that symbolized her doubts, and, it seems, finally finds peace in your own decisions and actions. With regret, she says in his thoughts, like would all was otherwise, if it weren't for the losses that she survived. In her eyes is reflected bitterness, memories, but at the same time, resilience. At that moment, Rubrio, her son, looks into the room. He fills her with light and joy, calls her with a smile. Elena, struck by his sincerity, feels relief from this moment. Rubrio brought her breakfast, carefully cooked with her own hands. She finds this gesture touching, and her heart overflows tenderness for the son who became her support. Elena thanks son for this gift. In her eyes shines joy. After all, exactly such moments give her strength move on despite difficulties. She notices that Rubrio concerned her well-being. His sincere interest makes her smile. She is trying to assure him that it's not as bad as it seems maybe to appear. Elena thanks Rubrio for his care, feeling like her heart is filled with warmth. At these moments, she understands that love's son, her, the main thing treasure and source forces, Rubrio, sitting on the bed, was thinking about his pain and loneliness. His blue eyes were glowing sadness, and the hands crossed on the knees gave away internal excitement. To the boy, it was difficult to find solace in silence. Elena, seeing her son's sadness, carefully turned to him. She suggested spending the day together so that raised to him mood. Smile flashed across Rubrio's face, and his gaze filled up hope. The excitement is still there, slipped through the boy's gestures, but his sincere joy of opportunity be close to mother was obvious, for the first time in a long time. At that time, he felt warmth. When they met, Elena asked with a smile what he would like to do. Rubrio, a little embarrassed, he admitted that dreams again take a stroll through the city center, where life was seething with colors. Elena agreed, and they went to the city. Holding his mother's hand, Rubrio admired lively street, his genuine joy and curiosity as if they were reviving the surroundings every detail. There are some on the street attention attracted by the ice cream shop. Eyes Rubrio lit up at the sight multicolored treats. Elena, noticing this, suggested to him try the treat that caused him delight. While he was enjoying himself ice cream, there was a guy standing nearby Cassian, his stern gaze, softened in a conversation with a friend. He tried convince him to try the same treat, adding some lightness to the moment. Elena noticed Cassian and froze in surprise. She remembered there the past and the feelings that he awakened in her. My heart sank, and my thoughts returned to the previous one life. Her face became tense, but she tried to hide it. This is so as not to alert the son. Meeting with Cassian caused a storm of emotions, from which she couldn't get rid of it despite the calm appearance. Elena, thinking what is happening, she noted that she did not expect to see it here. She realized that their paths crossed paths not by chance, but hid their feelings to focus on Joy Rubrio. Elena, hiding face behind lace veil, approaches the counter, striving to stay unnoticed. She orders ice cream, but suddenly her attention attracts a familiar voice. For her back turns out Cassian, who seems to recognize her. Cassian, with a wide smile, jokes about the unexpected meeting, recognizing Elena as a lady at Hernan. His unexpected appearance, it's confusing Elena, who is trying his best hide their emotions. But Light Blush gives out her excitement. Elena, reservedly, she replies that she didn't expect to meet Cassiana in this place. He, on the contrary, admits that he often thought about her, but did not hope for such chance. Between them arises tense atmosphere. Elena looks at him reproachfully, noting that his words sound inappropriate. Cassian, realizing her mood, tries to diffuse the situation, but can't hide his interest and ease anxiety. Cassian explains that, contrary to expectations, the meeting brought him peace. This is confession more it's confusing, Elena. But she answers sarcastically that for her, it's an honor. She tries not to give away internal confusion. Attention! Cassiana attracts injury on cheek Elena. He persistently asks about the reason, but she, looking away, explains this by chance. Her voice sounds, I'm not sure, that only increases his suspicions. Cassian reproachfully looks at Elena, guessing that she is hiding something. His expression becomes serious, but the voice's soft accuses her in unwillingness tell the truth. Elena feels like her heart shrinks from these words. Elena thinks about how even noble ladies can face difficulties and injustice. Her sight becomes hard, but deep down she hopes that will be able to protect yourself and yours close ones. The scene is interrupted. Appearance Rubrio, which rushes to Elena. He looks at Cassian defiantly, defending his mother. Elena calms down, son, trying not to give situations go out of control. Cassian suggests discussing everything in more detail, private environment. Elena, stronger, hugging Rubrio, assessing his proposal. Tension between the heroes grows, promising new revelations and complexity solutions. Elena, with a heavy heart, apologized to the young man, a person, explaining that she has urgent meeting. To his question, really? There is something more important, services to the crown prince. She replied that, Of course, there is. Having shown her determination, Elena gathered my will into a fist so that leave. However, next to her suddenly turned out to be Rubrio. Her son, who was anxious, hugged her by the dress, tightly holding her by the hand, as if trying protect. Cassian, watching them actions, with a grin, shrugged his shoulders as if expressing indifference to her decision. But inside him, emotions were clearly boiling. Hidden behind the outer coldness and sarcasm, Elena, trying save dignity, graceful turned around, asking forgiveness for the forced care. Her determination only was getting stronger, but the tension in her movements gave out depressed feeling anxiety. She suddenly noticed that Cassian continues follow her and Rubrio. Elena felt rage and bewilderment. They had already said goodbye, so why did he stubbornly follows them, ignoring her words? Turning around, she asked Cassian point blank if he was really going to accompany them until the very end paths. Her voice trembled. In her eyes was burning mixture irritation and surprise. Cassian, with shining smile, stated that throw halfway there, it is impossible. His confidence and ease literally drove me crazy. Elena, for myself, though she tried stay calm, watching Elena, Cassian suddenly realized that she reminds to him Supreme Priestess CU. This is the comparison flooded his heart, warm but painful memories he wanted to avoid. Before his inner, with a glance, the image of the most arose Supreme Priestesses. Her golden hair, tender smile, and calm reminded Cassian. What Elena somehow tries, prove your independence. Anger embraced Cassian when he realized that he could not forgive those insults that once inflicted on the High Priestess and her legacy. In his head surfaced moments-filled pain that made him clench his fists. Elena stood in the shadows trees. Her sight was cold and detached. In the bright light before her appeared Theron, radiating feigned joy. It's like he forgot their tense relationship, hiding true emotions behind the strained smile. Suddenly appeared Cassian. His formidable figure and stern the look made everyone freeze. The atmosphere grew tense as he, discreetly, but with obvious challenge, turned to Theron, throwing a shadow on his greeting. Theron tried save visibility goodwill, but his smile trembled when Cassian explained that accompanied Elena. A spark flew between the men. Tension that became noticeable surrounding. Situation escalated when Theron dismissively mentioned security Elena, hinting at her uselessness. Cassian cold-bloodedly noted that these people even protect her incapable. His words sounded sharp and challenging. Cassian continued to emphasize weakness environment Elena, provoking Torona. Their views crossed paths as if call was accepted. Theron tried to defend himself, but his words still sounded less confidently. Elena, with bitterness, I watched this tense dialogue. She hard-sighed, not understanding why all comes down to conflicts. The look clearly spoke of disappointment in both men. Cassian attentively looked at her as if studying her pain. Elena took away look, wondering how she ended up surrounded by such people. In her eyes froze despair and hidden resentment. Then Cassian asked unexpected and painful question of possibility divorce from Theron. His proposal help with this sounded so decisively that for a moment knocked out Elena from equilibrium. She rejected his help, firmly saying that she couldn't run away from one threats, resorting to another. Elena saved dignity, though her voice gave away internal doubts and hidden fears. Elena bowed her head, thanked Cassiana for his concern, but made it clear that she would not accept his proposals. She preferred fight by yourself, keeping independence and pride. Even in the face so powerful support, Elena, with difficulty hiding their emotions, asks for understanding. Her gentle appearance surrounded by roses symbolizing her internal fragility and hope for support. Depth her feelings are visible even without words. Memories of the past come to life before her eyes. Cassian, reserved but strong, holds the hand of the other women. Shadow Elena covers this scene, emphasizing how this memory depresses her heart. Cassian, turning away, leaves Elena behind, hoping that next time she will turn out better position. But her internal struggle says more desire stay close than she is ready to admit. Elena and Cassian meet with a glance. He silently expresses desire to spend more time with her but the situation between them remains tense, leaving both in captivity, unexpressed feelings. In the office, surrounded by stacks of papers, Elena is trying to get distracted from your own thoughts. However, Theron's words penetrate into her consciousness, returning her to the internal questions to which she has no answers. Theron, looking at Elena, expresses seriousness their own intentions. Elena, trying save calm, answers with caution interest that only enhances tension their communication. Elena internally agrees that further resistance it's pointless. Her eyes express the bitter truth. Everything that she says, imbued with pain and inevitability, interchanges their stories. To the question Torona, why? She is so unhappy, Elena, gives direct answer. Her words sound like a cry from the soul, revealing all the depth despair that tears apart her from the inside. Elena's words shocking Torona. He realizes that is no longer the person she once loved. This understanding becomes a turning point for both of them. Elena looks at Theron with determination. She accepts that their paths separated. Being on the verge of a new life, she finally ready to find your own happiness despite pain losses past. Elena, dressed in exquisite dress, against the backdrop of the sunset expresses deep regret. She prays for forgiveness, remembering their mistakes. Her flaming red hair reflect emotions and spirituality pain. Theron, kneeling, holds something in his hands and with despair looks at Elena. He is ready. Give everything for her happiness, but at the same time doubts he can whether to keep her close to me. Elena remembers the moment of their first meetings. Her irritation then was caused by the fact that Theron showed up a fool, but his fate, connected with tragedy, softened her sight. Past Torona clouded heavy circumstances. He was victim deception, but despite this, his desire caring about others, including Elena, makes him not a fool, but a man with great soul. The main light in life, Torona became his son, Rubrio. Elena sees how much he loves boy E, and understands that this feeling is the only thing fastens their family. However, accusations Theron is that Elena took advantage of illness Rubrio, they hurt her. She realizes the injustice of his words, but he can't resist the truth that he presents. In the dark scene, stars scatter across the darkness, emphasizing interior conflict heroes. Elena reflects that it is unfair to ask forgiveness for something that she didn't commit. Elena remembers how one day the Duke turned to her for mercy. I realized that sometimes even she, the priestess, cannot to grant justice to everyone. Looking out the window, Elena reflects on the fact that even divine mercy is unjust. It thoughtfully looks at the greenery around, trying to find it in nature answers to your questions. Thinking about my missions, Elena realizes that not everyone could hear her voice, and although many believed in her, their views rarely coincided with her own beliefs. Elena, whose soul keeps the memory of service in the past, stands before the majestic stained glass window reflecting divine light. She feels cargo expectations placed on her and tries to find an answer to the question of why she is the one entrusted with such great case. Among their own brothers, she tries maintain warmth and goodwill. Her sincerity and smile become source joy for others, though internal doubts and awareness do not leave responsibility her, not for a moment. Elena thinks about his fate, standing in front of the window's temple. She understands that her purpose demands sacrifices and accepts it with bitterness, but also with courage, feeling deep connection with higher powers. Light pouring out through stained glass windows seem to be a symbol of heavy missions. Elena realizes that should take on this burden, despite the fear of the unknown, because that's the only way she does it, will be able to execute the task assigned to it. Her solution finally is being formed. She remembers past when was Supreme Priestess and understands that even then her choice always accompanied internal struggle, but she never shied away from responsibility. Past reminds her of those who believed in her. Their support becomes her support, and the experiences tests give forces continue on the path that I chose, despite doubts and pain. Words of comfort from loved ones help her understand that she did everything possible. Elena feels like gratitude and determination strengthen her spirit, allowing her to let go of fear and completely focus on your own calling. She acquires internal harmony, finally realizing that her destiny is her choice. Elena accepts support higher powers, feeling how their presence envelops her with light, strengthening her on her way to her intended purpose. Leona with disappointment meets father, who dissatisfied her failure. His anger, it is obvious. He reproaches daughter for inability to execute important task. The man reminds her of the responsibilities placed on her hopes. Father points to huge costs associated with its actions. Leona, feeling guilty, tries justify herself, but her arguments sound unconvincing for a strict parent. He still more boils with indignation. Internal reflections, Leon's show that she tried her best with all my might, even involved other people in her plans. But her, the rival, Elena, turned out to be more cunning and calculating, which upset plans Leon's. Father the Leons are furious, accuses her in constant excuses. He demands that she immediately left his office, calling her unworthy. Leona leaves feeling heaviness, failure. Rage father intensifies. He throws papers from the table, screaming from impotence. Thoughts about the future family and Leona's failure stand in front of him, threatening destroy his plans and hopes. Memories they carry away father a year ago, when he believed in the convincing words of a certain trader. The man introduced himself successful investor, and his plans looked like promising. Father invested all his fortune families in the proposed project, deciding to take a risk. The image of a trader was impressive that finally inclined him to the decision support investment, but he soon found out the bitter truth. Trader turned out to be a fraud. One of his trusted people reported to him scary news that the swindler disappeared with the money. In anger, father sent people to search trader. But it didn't lead to anything. He had to take on obligations to repay the debt, which put the family in a difficult position. This history became the reason for his harsh relationship with Leona. She was restore the family's honor, but its failure only made it worse position, strengthening the internal crisis father. Elena, ex-priestess Siege, found herself in a difficult situations because of fraud Leone. In despair. Father Leon's even falsified records in order to hide financial collapse, realizing that their position unstable. At the ball, Leona appeared before the public, pretending innocent, in hope attract the Duke's attention. Theron, in turn, was surprised noted how Elena changed that caused him mixed feelings. Father Leon's planned everything for the sake of profit union with Theron, seeing in Helen resemblance to the deceased, the Duke's wife. His calculation was cynical, to make a big profit from this marriage amount. Plans, the Leons failed when she tried put up Elena thief. This is exposure outraged many, and on the table lay down evidence that destroyed her reputation. Father Leone held the documents in panic, realizing that the situation became critical. He understood that must find a way to deal with the consequences her actions. In a rage, he gathered himself, go to Theron, determined to discuss the situation that had arisen and protect his family. His secretary followed him without understanding intentions. Arriving at the estate of Duke Hernan, the Father Leons was configured demand explanations and seek compromises, despite the precariousness his positions. Elena, at this time talking to Theron, I didn't understand that she is waiting. Felt that situation is developing too much fast and unpredictable. Theron told to Elena about the arrival of Count Hilson, Father Leone, noting that intend to correct mistakes daughters. This made Elena think about the Count's motives. Earl Hilson arrived being determined, configured hush-up conflict. He hoped for an agreement that will bring him out financial and social crisis. At a meeting in a brightly lit living room, Elena, thoughtfully looking at Theron, asks why he decided to tell her the news himself and not entrust her this servant. Her sight executed careful surprise, and the voice is light doubts. Theron, towering over the seated Elena, admits that was looking for pretext to meet her. His words sound sincerely, but she notices some things in his gestures tension, as if he is not telling me something. He, approaching closer, speaks about his feeling that Elena avoided him after their last conversation. His words are colored with notes of sadness, and in his movement, it is felt uncertainty and restraint pain. Elena, throwing up her look at him sharply, states that their relationship started wrong and later turned into hatred. Her voice trembled with the overwhelming emotions reflecting struggle between pain and determination. Theron admits justice her words, looking to the side, like as if pondering their feelings. He looks vulnerable, as if only now realized the full weight their mutual resentment. He admits that he still hasn't figured out his feelings, but can't afford to let go Elena. His voice is full of doubt, but in his eyes is on fire determination not to give up, despite all obstacles. Elena, surprised by his words, instinctively is trying protest, but her thoughts betray hers. Hers. Eyes flare up anger, but deep down she feels barely perceptible hope for change. He warns she didn't rush to answer, as if fearing that the truth would cause to him more pain. His look insightful, as if tries to look into the very depth her soul. Elna, she thinks, admitting to herself that she is not ready to hear his frank answer. Her heart is torn apart between with pride and desire, give them a chance complex relationships. Finally, Theron leans closer and asks, does he understand? Lei, she is his feelings. Their views they meet and a tension hangs between them. Voltage that speaks more any words. Elena, personification pride and steadfastness, strives for freedom. But getting a divorce turned out to be more difficult than she assumed. Her, the look is full of determination, despite the hardships that are coming ahead. In a hall full of luxury, an elderly man with pride mentions that meeting a swordmaster is an honor beyond compare many. Elena remains in the shadows, hiding breath, while speech will not touch her. The wise king on the throne attentively looks at Fael. His proposal to accept the role of a worthy ruler sounds tempting. He promises to fulfill any request, but the dark-haired man remains cold-blooded. Fael objects, emphasizing that the rumors that have reached the monarch are false. His confidence and strength do not need confirmation, and his words break the thread of expectations. Present, strong voice, Fael declares that he does not intend to obey to no one. His determination unshakable, and the look is on fire internal light, reflecting the strength of his will and independence. Elena, thinking about her role in the world, realizes that for most, she total only tool. But inside her is warming the idea that there is a man who sees her real essence. Fael alone holds medallion, remembering Elena. Memories of her are the only thing that warms him in the cold walls of the castle. His face full longing and tenderness. Inside royal office, Fael stands in front of the elegant secretary. He is ready. Ask important question. And tension grows, reflected in every gesture. Melvin, refined and strict, looks at Fael. He is reserved suggests getting to the point affairs, emphasizing that time their conversations quite limited. Fael raises the question of the Supreme Soul Priestesses. These are the ones who, like everything was said, more is in this world. His voice is full of hope and determination. Find out the truth. Elvin, an advisor dressed in a formal suit, with the air of a professional, turns over the papers, confirming your own solution. There is a smile on his face, light, but slightly frightening smile, and his words sound confidently. This document contains fateful decree. Before your eyes, Warrior Fael, the document is revealed. Complete horror. All followers false religions should be executed. In the eyes, young men flares up indignation, but he tries to control himself, reading the cruel lines. Fael outraged, sitting in front of him advisor, whose seeming smile hides cold madness. But is it? It's nothing more sanely than to live half a century, denying all sorts emotions? This question sounds, how challenge his own beliefs? Advisor gets up, holding new ones in his hands. Documents. His voice trembles, but he remains firm, explaining that there is another task that requires courage. Fael. He has to apologize for being direct words. Fael surprised, but listening explanations. Advisor reports that this time the task is connected with the capture of a criminal, a fraudster, who is avoiding payments taxes. However, the goal is not as simple as maybe to appear. Asking myself the question is why the magician has to resort to someone else's help. Fael faces irony answer. The advisor, laughing, explains that the task requires exactly human approach, because magic is useless here. Advisor, with a frightening calm confidence, explains the need to leave criminals alive. Otherwise, it is impossible to get rid of them will collect taxes. At this moment, it is difficult not to believe his look, but it still gives you goosebumps. Fael agrees with logic. Let, and she scares him. He takes a map where the estate is indicated, in which to him to come to go. Advisor completes conversation, leaving everything as his responsibility. The map shows an estate Urnian is a place where a fraudster is hiding. Advisor convinces Fael, What is his skill? Perfect suitable for execution so delicate tasks, despite his protest. Fael, having found confidence, illuminates smile. His spirit rises on wings. Inspiration, because he understands that able to handle it a test. In his eyes lights up light faith in one's own forces. Elena, lying on the bed, was thinking about her past and present, hiding face behind the book. Her piercing sight gave out deep sadness and melancholy. Internal monologue about the past errors and vulnerabilities interrupted her peace. Theron, with his inherent to him determination, looked Elena in the eyes, asking, "Give him a chance to change." His voice was full of despair and hope, and the surrounding their atmosphere was filled tension and unexpressed emotions. Elena, confused and distrustful, reacted to her husband's words. She couldn't believe that 2 months enough to their relationship changed. Her anxiety and doubts broke out into her answers. Determination. Torona awakened his persistence. However, hot reaction Elena made him nervous. Her categoricalness confused him, but he did not give up, convincing her give to him time to earn forgiveness. Theron, apparently in despair, convinced Elena promise give he is 2 months old. His oath sounded loud and sincere, like as if he hoped that this will be the beginning of their new path. Elena, I thought about Theron's words. Everything more doubting. She thought that there was little changed for everything this time, but at the same time admitted to herself that he always was a person capable to surprise. Soon into the room, a maid entered, announcing the arrival of Count Hilson. This news called Elena surprise, and she thought about the purpose of his visit, involuntarily putting all thoughts of Theron aside. Elena stood up, confident and focused, ready. Meet the Count. Her internal calm changed wariness when she tried to understand that it was he who was going to tell her. When Count Hilson appeared, he frankly reported his desire to meet Elena. His intention was clearly important, and he insisted on talking with her, ignoring resistance. Father Elena, who was in the room, suggested that the Count discuss any questions with him. However, voltage between them grew stronger as the Count continued to insist on a conversation exclusively with Elena. Elena wondered why the man insisted on personal meeting. She suggested that perhaps in the past life, as a priestess siege, she was, I know him. This was disturbing her, but she tried not to show it emotions. Going down the stairs, Elena decisively threw away doubts. Her steps were confident, as if she was preparing for an important conversation that will demand from her all composure and firmness character. Once downstairs, Elena looked at the assembled people. Her sight was full of confidence when she reminded those present about the need to discuss the details, directly pointing out the hidden motives and intrigues. Father Leon's was amazed. His face melted into a rapture smile, but it didn't bother Elena. I watched him, trying to understand if his reaction was sincere. Looking at the man, Elena tried to comprehend his behavior, her bothered connection with the past, and the mysterious attitude this person. I felt that there was something hidden behind his words, something more. Father Leonie began to make excuses, trying to explain that his daughter didn't mean any harm. Elena. However, his words sounded unconvincing. That caused Elena discreet irritation. Elena pointed out something suspicious, sharply behavior Leona. Her tone was firm but calm. Inside she smiled, knowing that the man had no idea what was in front of him now at all, another human. The man was indignant, claiming that accusations Elena built on the words of the maids. However, his excitement gave out the weakness of his position, and this more convinced Elena in her rightness. Elena calmly reminded me of many witnesses confirming her words. The man nervously continued to defend his daughter, but his arguments seemed all less convincing. Trying to save the situation, the man desperately begged Elena leave yours investments, because without them, the family would be in dire straits position. Elena cold-bloodedly watched his panic, holding situation under control. Theron, caught taken by surprise unexpected incident, struck, exclaimed, "Name Elena." His emotions were issued mixture anxiety and surprise. He clearly did not expect such a turn of events that only emphasized the heat in them complex relationships. Fael, seeing injustice, showed determination. Excitedly addressing the Father Leone, he demanded immediately stop rough behavior. There was tension in the air, emphasized flashlight from the naked weapons. Fael with cold, he held the tip of the knife at his throat with a threat, hinting at his intentions. His fury and persistence where it is obvious that he was trying to assert his superiority despite the current tense situation. Elena, unexpectedly having met figure called Sir Rodrigo, was shocked. Her red eyes were burning surprise at the time. How Theron, standing behind her, looked dumbfounded, tried to understand what was happening. How as if the world around collapsed. Dark a figure appeared behind the Father Leona, causing him to become frightened. He recoiled, feeling the threat posed by the mysterious shadows. Situation acquired new, yet more an ominous turn, intensifying voltage. High elven man with light smile grabbed Father Leona's shoulder. His calm and confidence emphasized superiority, and the hint of plans at the Duke's estate reinforced intrigue and prepared for new one's events. Gray-haired man looked stunned, finds out what's in front of him, that most Aristor, whom he apparently did not expect see. His eyes filled surprise and fear, face covered in sweat, emphasizing tension moment. Mysterious elf declares that for the right assumption, provided a special prize loudly on his hands, the handcuffs snap into place. This turn is disconcerting. The tension is growing. Elna are introduced into a spacious hall, and the man who introduced himself, Minister Melvin. Greetings there. His appearance and manners radiate dignity, but in the air it is felt hidden voltage between the heroes. Melvin solemnly swears serve the house of Arenal faithfully. His heartfelt words and elegant gesture emphasize seriousness moment. However, for polite smile are hiding shadows past. Elena looks at Melvin with tension. Her red eyes sparkle hostility. She mentally, it is admitted that Melvin is the last person she would want meet in the present telly. What adds intrigues? Flashback talks about childhood Melvina. Born half-elf, he was from an early age could not find a place for himself in the world, torn apart between different sides of their nature. His half-blood origin meant eternal loneliness. Although Elena helped him in the past, she understands that her support will not be able to last forever. After all, Melvin immortal. Melvin, with a slight smile, states that will the first one who finds out Elena, where would she know was? His determination and confidence permeate every word, causing mixed feelings. Elena recalls that other would counted. Such words are meaningless, but in execution, Melvina. This sounds sincerely. His promise to find her, despite all the obstacles, is touching. Elena lets down result his own thoughts. She understands that the meeting with the minister is not just a coincidence, but a key moment for her current missions. The hero's determination is transmitted to the reader, completing the scene. Elena meets Melvin, noticing his thoughtful look, as if he feels something strange. Her astonishment increases when she realizes that in this conversation, there is a mystery hidden that she can't to solve. Melvin mentions a name that was unexpected for Elena, that amazes her. She is trying hide your own confusion, realizing that Melvin knows more than shows, and this causes a mixture in her worries and anxieties. The man with blonde hair assures Melvina, "What happened, mistake?" But he coldly asserts the opposite, reporting that his wife wears this name. Elena's surprised and can't understand what is happening. After explanations, the man apologizes for his ignorance, and Melvin, remaining cold, leaves, throwing last look at Elena. She remains in place, feeling that there was something unsaid between them. In the next one scene, Elena calls Melvina cunning and mysterious, but his light smile says that he understands her condition. He's like plays a game whose rules known only to him. Later, left alone, Elena immerses himself in his thoughts, thinking about words and actions Melvina. She feels that their meetings carry hidden meaning, and its doubts only are growing. Awakening from sleep with bubbling emotions, Elena faces internal conflict. Her thoughts of Melvin haunt her, causing simultaneously interest and concerns. A sudden noise interrupts her thoughts. Dishes falls, creating chaos. Elena shudders, trying to understand what happened, and realizes that situation comes out of control. Elena finds himself in the epicenter what's happening, but her saves Melvin, who suddenly turns out to be nearby. His actions inspire confidence, but they force her heart to fight faster. Elena, with gratitude, looks at Melvin, realizing how important he is to her in this moment. His strength and presence become an anchor for her, strengthening her strange connection between them. Elena, seized unexpected emotions, shocked pronounces. Name Melvina. Memories and feelings from last life flooded over her, giving birth the excitement and confusion that are reflected in ETs. Her unsteadiness calls alarm among the servants, who hurries to Elena to support. Attention surrounding enhances tension, but she is trying maintain control, even if uncertainly. Melvin, the elvish minister, gracefully descends the stairs, appreciating the situation with the cold restraint. The servants hurriedly cleans up broken pieces, trying not to attract attention. Thoughts Elena, they carry away her in memories. Visions from past confirm her connection with this place and with the person standing in front of her. She has difficulty accepting this is trying, realize why fate brought her here. Melvin brushes off thanks Elena, assuring that she is special exception. His calm confidence calms down her, but still leaves a bit of confusion. He throws it on her shoulder's cloak, creating illusion protection and warmth. This gesture seems so simple, but it is hiding deep wish be closer to her. Elena is overcome with doubts, fearing that her secret's revealed. Her fear that Melvin knows more than she is ready to admit. It causes internal struggle. Pop-up's thoughts about divorce and plans for the future only strengthen her wish, protect herself. She is trying save distance, but has a premonition that it won't be possible to hide the truth for long. Melvin, being nearby, gives her a straight question about her personalities. His view penetrates to the very essence, forcing Elena feel that her walls just about to happen will collapse. Melvin's gentle but confident gesture makes her hesitate. His words sound calmly but firmly, depriving her last chance for evasiveness. Melvin accepts with a smile. Solution save visibility ignorance of what was happening. His calmness and confidence charming. And easy the mockery in the voice makes wonder what he's hiding their true intentions. Fael and Theron burst into the room, alarmed by the scream. Their faces reflect worry. Everyone wants to understand that happened. The situation is heating up, and there is a rush adds drama in what is happening. Fael, with sincerity, asks Elena about her well-being. Girl assures that she is fine, but in her eyes slips through shadow fatigue. Theron looks at what is happening with barely noticeable irritation. Melvin, with gratitude, notes that was nearby to help. His words sound softly but confidently, and he like as if enjoys its moment of triumph. The atmosphere gradually is discharging. Elena explains that exactly Melvin helped her avoid troubles. His presence emphasizes the contrast between him and the others. Fael continues watching Elena, clearly preoccupied her condition. Fael offers to take Elena to her chambers, but Theron Sharp interrupts him, declaring that he will take care of it himself. His tone expresses irritation, but words make Elena and the rest think about his motives. Theron reminds to all that they are with Elena, live together. His loud statement causes shock and confusion. Elena looks at him with surprise. While, how situation, it's heating up more stronger. Melvin, by watching Theron, does sarcastic remark. His mocking tone undermines Theron's authority, and the scene itself turns into a comedy that involuntarily calls Elena is embarrassed. Melvin apologizes for his ignorance, adding mysteries his personality. His calm manner leaves after myself feeling unspoken, as if he knows more than speaks. Lying in bed, Elena holds the letter in his hands and looks at him. Thoughts of divorce do not give her peace. This moment emphasizes her internal struggle and readiness for change in one's life. The maid is confused, apologized to Elena, lowering her eyes. She felt myself guilty for yesterday's incident and asked for forgiveness for her awkwardness. Hoping for understanding with sides his hostesses, Elena kept calm and assured the maid that she was okay. However, she noted with concern that broken plates were very valuable, and this left them with the task of replacements. The maid is in despair, told that these plates were used for the most important guests. Her voice trembled as she understood how much expensive was this loss, and now I did not see exit. Elena thought about how to correct situation. Her sight was full of determination. In her, an idea came into my head, and she confidently suggested the maid went into the kitchen to try something unusual. In the kitchen, Elena began creating a real miracle. She used ingredients to decorate dishes, transforming them in bright works arts. Simple elements looked like amazing. Fael, with interest, considered created Elena. His admiration was reflected in the smile. He noted that such the decoration hasn't been seen for a long time to him, and praised her creativity and talent. Melvin brought the fork to his lips, trying one of the element's decorations. His look was thoughtful, and he admitted that these details remind someone from him past that caused easy smile. Elena embarrassedly smiled, apologizing for such unusual solution. However, her intention create something special was obvious, and guests will be happy accepted her efforts. Everyone enjoyed it, her culinary art, and the atmosphere at the table was filled with joy. Elena, his ingenuity, I was able transform annoying situation on holiday event. Housemaid thanked Elena with a deep bow, touched her kindness. She was I am grateful not only for the forgiveness, but also for the inspiring example of how a way out can be found from the most complex situations. Elena, dressed in luxurious dress, appears before the maid, whose the look is full of indecision. The girl hesitates before how admit that earlier experienced contempt for Elena because of her actions in the past. Housemaid reveals that she didn't understand how so noble the lady could use poor child for the sake of his own interests. However, now she realizes that Elena were compelling reasons to do exactly that. The maid gathered her courage, thanks Elena, realizing that exactly she saved her in the past. This time the words sound genuine, sincerity, causing Elena warm smile. Elena responds with gentleness and gratitude for such kind words. Her face illuminates light. She looks like unbelievable exquisitely, as if beauty itself was embodied in a human appearance. Housemaid apologizes and hurries leaves, leaving luxury hall. Elena watches her with a slight sadness, but realizes that each destinies, there is your way. As if from out of nowhere appears Melvin, the minister with the mysterious smile. He compliments Elena, celebrating her unsurpassed beauty that makes her feel unexpected confusion. Elena feels awkwardness of presence Melvina and tries avoid his company. However, his gaze pierces her, forcing search escape routes. Melvin takes a step closer, lowering his voice to their no one heard. He assures Elena the conversation is not noticeable to outsiders, that it's confusing her more. In a huge empty hall, Elena suddenly realizes that everyone has disappeared. The question is, where all the guests have disappeared. It sounds loudly in her head, filling the silence. Memories take us back a few minutes ago. Where is little Rubrio yawns, looking tiredly around. The atmosphere is filled calmness, emphasizing the contrast with confusion. Elena, noticing the look, Faelia. I felt its strange premonition. She thinks about it, is not involved, Lady Elena, to recent events that evokes an inner self in her alarm. Her thoughts are clearly busy, something important that adds tension in her image. Theron suggested Rubrio to rest, but that joyfully rejected proposal, adding that feels yourself beautifully. The stage is filled warmth. You can feel it in tender connection between father and son, despite the tension between Elena and Theron. Little Rubrio addresses Fael with sincere offer, go with him. His bright smile and shining eyes bribe a man who embarrassedly agrees. This scene shows innocence the boy, and his ability melt heart even the most reserved human being. Elena interacts with one of the maids, demonstrating their nobility and greatness. The girl thanks her for understanding, emphasizing respect that surrounded Elena in her surroundings. At this moment, Elena shows his strong but kind nature. Rubrio, holding Fael's hand, delightedly asks Tell about the battles with monsters. His genuine interest makes Fael think about how to convey to the boy mine experience without shocking him. This scene reveals softness in the image of the stern Fael. Left alone, Elena remembers past events that still haunt her. In her consciousness arises dark silhouette, reminiscent of pain and betrayal. She feels myself lonely, but it is only strengthens her determination move on. Melvin appears with a mysterious smiling, confirming that his predictions always precise. His confidence and elegance emphasize his status and power. His figure becomes a symbol of the unknown, which surrounds Elena. Elena is in shock, realizes that Melvin, perhaps in advance, knew about all events. Her eyes flare up with anger and bewilderment, until inside her, a storm of emotions flares up. She feels myself deceived that adds drama to her internal struggle. Melvin approaches Elena with a compliment about her fatigue, causing indignation in her. She is being asked the question is who is to blame for it condition. Their dialogue filled tension, and it is felt hidden feud between them. Melvin, with a slight ironic smile, puts forward assumption that her fatigue caused by his attention. Elena can hardly contain herself in her scream. Her thoughts explode emotions. This scene emphasizes dynamics, their complex relations. Elena quickly ran out onto the terrace and froze under the pressure of a strong wind. Holding back their emotions, she is trying to justify herself to Melvin, but her words are drowned in anxiety and doubt. Awareness of someone else's condemnation, heavy cargo falls on her shoulders. Melvin Tate, standing on the contrary, angrily reproaches Helen. He states that she shouldn't, to interfere in people's lives, reminding them that her power must stay within limits temple. His cold words penetrate the heart. Elena, forcing her think about justice these accusations. Clot's magical energy begin to swirl around them, like reflection, internal conflict. Elena hears the accusation that she takes up too much important place in life, supreme priestesses, even after her rebirth. She feels injustice and desire protect myself. In the head, Elena flare up thoughts full despair and sadness. She believes that Melvin unfair. His harsh comments, they hurt her, but she tries restrain yourself. Elena internally prays that he will listen. I understood her true intentions. Elena firmly declares that he will become Supreme Priestess was her own choice. She emphasizes that Melvin never imposed his views on her opinion. Awareness, her determination surprises Melvin, forcing think about your words. Melvin suddenly changes in expression faces. His hand gently touches Elena's hair, and his gaze becomes warm. He says that her presence illuminates his world. Elena, confused, looks at him without understanding sudden changes. Elena admits that she really sha, but emphasizes that her life as the Supreme Priestess is finished. This statement sounds, how farewell to the past, marking the beginning of a new stage her destinies. She tells that now her name is Elena, and she decided accept your new essence. There is a note in her voice, confidence, and face illuminates light. Confirms her intention, live in a new way. Elena asks, Melvin is not to be named her this and keep it her secret. She vulnerable but determined. It is a moment of trust in which she opens up to him, asking for his support. Melvin looks at Elena with tenderness and promises not to push her away her. He asks to be allowed to become a part of her life. His words sound sincerely, like an oath, sealing their mutual acceptance and connection. Fail suggested to execute any task without questions, calling easy Melvin's smile, the seriousness of his promise, filled the atmosphere with special tension, but the words sounded sincere and with conviction. Melvin doubted that help Fail really is noble, hinting at his dubious methods. Fail was slightly embarrassed to realize that his actions may not correspond high standards of chivalry. Embarrassment, Fael was caused by his memories of a woman he considers Supreme Priestess. He couldn't get rid of the feeling reverence despite rational explanations what is happening. Melvin Sharp besieged Fael, calling him blind for his inability, distinguish two absolutely different women. His rage was caused misunderstanding how can confuse obvious things. Melvin advised Fael focus on building real relationships, not fantasies. His comment was caustic but truthful, forcing Fael feel confusion and discomfort. Melvin showed a stack of love letters sent Fael maids. Was bright illustration of that Fael is clearly calling sympathy, but his thoughts busy only one woman. Fael with stubborn expression faces assured that the letters did not bother him. His determination was hard, but it is only irritated Melvin, who saw in this aimless persistence. Melvin warned Fael, what even if Supreme Priestess she will come back, will never become express their feelings like this was written in the letters. His tone was stern but honest. Fael continued his work accompanied by melancholy. On the way to him, two younger ones met assistants who greeted him with respect, emphasizing his authority among comrades. Fael stopped to listen their request for help. His serious expression changed easy bewilderment as he tried to understand what from him specifically they want. but his sincere wish help remained unchanged. Fael stood at the training ground, the area in front of the assembled people, among which were Melvin and Elna. He carefully looked at the sword, thinking about his duties and the responsibility that lay upon him. It has begun training duel. Blows they rang. The swords collided with power by force, forcing spectators to detain breath. Rubrio with delight watched what was happening, although Elena looked like tense. Elena didn't understand why Fael is so passionate this duel. In the past, he avoided similar duels. Rubrio supported him, sincerely rejoicing for the master who showed your own art. Fael thought, worth itly to him continue. Elena, although she was not more priestess, these are still made him tremble. However, duty and feeling, they didn't allow him to go to debt stop. Elna decided that the training is over and asked Fael relax. Rubric was disappointed, but in his eyes flared up hope when she promised to find a teacher for him so that he could study mastery. Rubrio was happy, promise mothers. His face illuminated wide smile. At that time, Fael concentrated lead training fight, facing powerful blows from his opponent. In the heat of battle, the sword of one of participants flew out from his hands and flew towards Elena. She froze, watching as cold blade approaching, surrounded sparkling light. Fael, noticing the danger, sharply turned his head. His heart stopped for a moment. He cried out, realizing that the sword could hurt Elena. The sword miraculously flew past and crashed into a tree. Fael hurried to Elena, asking if she was hurt. His voice trembled with excitement, and his gaze was full of sincerity, anxiety. Fael hard-breathed, looking at Elena, who seemed to be only now realized that happened. He swore that will never forgive himself if something would happen to her, and there was something in his words, genuine sincerity. Elena, looking at Fael, feels alarm, but quickly calms down herself, noticing that he looked fine. She remembers their recent adventure and notes to himself how he stayed unharmed despite all the trials. Fael smiles, assuring that everything is fine with him good, despite the worries. Elena notices something on his cheek, and hers curiosity encourages, check this is. She feels responsibility for his well-being. Elena concerns faces Fael, noticing the dirt, wonders where he could get dirty. He is embarrassed by her worries, but quickly justifies himself by remembering a recent battle in which they both participated. Melvin suddenly appears, with surprise watching them interaction. His reaction slightly, it's comical, but at the same time tries to understand that between them happens, reminding of their missions. How minister. Fael, left alone, remembers his day while taking a bath. He studies your own reflection in the mirror, noticing a small scar on the cheek. This find makes him think about what happened. The scar is causing memories of the battle, where he narrowly escaped serious injuries thanks to protection, which may be associated with divine by force. This, the thought, puzzles him and causes feeling thanks. He reflects on the divine energy that probably kept him going in battle. However, he begins doubt this theories, knowing that Elena hides the truth about his powers. Fael decides that he can't throw out Elena from heads. Her care and mystery awaken in him interest that only is getting stronger, despite all their disagreements. Melvin interrupts his thoughts, categorically asserting that Elena is an important figure, and Fael should not load her their own feelings or problems, but his words cause Fael only easy smirk. Fael continues think about Elena, her power and role in his life. His obsession becomes all stronger despite advice surrounding him, making him think about the future and their joint paths. Fael slowly walked through the forest, tormented doubts. His thoughts were confused, but he knew that he could not stop. Around silence poured out, interrupted only by his steps, which barely touched soft herbs. Stopping at the tree, he realized that tired. Leaning against the trunk, he allowed himself to rest a little. His gaze wandered in the distance, where turned white building, hidden behind dense foliage. His thoughts carried him away to memories, and he did not notice how a figure appeared in front of him. Golden hair and familiar, the radiance made his heart freeze. He squeezed out with difficulty, "Who you?" His suspicions were confirmed, and the Supreme Being appeared before him. Priestess. This is the one in whom he recognized his lost one, companion from past. Joy seized him, and he firmly hugged her, expressing all the accumulated melancholy. But suddenly, he noticed something strange. His joy changed surprise when golden hair were replaced by bright red ones, and the face turned out to be unfamiliar. He realized that I made a mistake. Elena, confused by his unexpected reaction, pushed him away. Her red eyes expressed surprise, and she was trying hard to understand what happens, calling him by name. Fael hastily apologized, realizing his mistake. He fell to his knees, feeling himself stupidly. His words were full remorse, but I was hoping for an explanation. Elena tried to calm him down, but she is puzzled by his words, remembered the past, but could not say who he was. Her thoughts were confused, and she felt myself confused. Finally, he took her by the hand, begging admit that she is Sia. His voice trembled. He believed that these words will be able to change everything. Elena looked at him, not knowing how to answer. The story is depicted, which unfolds between two characters. A girl named Elena, previously Priestess this one, and the man with green hair. Fael. Here, retelling plot. Elena confused and scared when Fael, full despair, faces her. She is trying to say something, but the words get stuck in his throat. At this moment, Fael, immersed in his grief, asks don't tell her that she is not who he thinks she is accepts. His loneliness becomes unbearable. Fael reveals his pain, admitting that without Elena, his life is meaningless. The words ring as a cry from the heart, demonstrating how much he suffers. He admits that the world without her lost for him meaning, and this breaks his heart. Elena, having gathered her courage, tries to address him by name. Her gentle and caring tone awakens in him interest. He looks back, casting a short glance at her, as if not believing his own ears. Her sudden reaction, awe. Inspiring. Eyes are filling up with tears, and the face blushes. Fael suddenly realizes that he went too far with his pressure, and it takes hold of him, feeling guilt. He begins doubt your own actions and words. Fael falls to his knees, deeply apologizing to Elena for his temper. He admits his guilt, realizing that his grief has made him uncontrollable. Elena watches him, trying to understand the depth of his despair. She leans towards him and says that everything is fine. Elena realizes that pain the loss left in the heart, feel a huge emptiness. Her words penetrate his soul, giving to him hope and confidence that his feelings heard. She soft reminds that with time, yearning turns into memories. These words penetrate his heart, and in his eyes appears spark hopes. Her sincerity helps to him believe that pain someday will subside. Fael remembers the words that one day heard from someone important. Voice from past speaks him that he is strong and can handle anything difficulties. This moment envelops him with warmth and inspiration. Elena, seeing his transformation, smiled, admits that he really is strong man. These words help Fael find interior peace. He asks her forgiveness, and they part ways, leaving each other with light hearts. Elena, watching Melvin, reflects on his remarks. He criticizes her for hasty conclusions, hinting at the groundlessness her suspicions. His stern look emphasizes seriousness. He protects his reputation. Melvin, being a half-elf, is astounding his charisma and sophistication. Although elves rarely lie, his nature makes him more humane, that sometimes calls doubts about his words and actions. Fael, thoughtfully watching Melvin, I'm sure that capable lie. His suspicions are getting stronger, especially if Melvin will decide to hide the truth for the sake of more high goals or personal interests. He is convinced that Melvin, optional supreme priestesses, would hide truth. His stern look radiates doubt and caution, emphasizing voltage between the characters. Elena notices that Ruby hasn't come to see her, and her anxiety is getting stronger. She is being asked the question of what could have delayed him, and suspicions start fill her thoughts. The maid reports that Ruby is in the training room. Elena is surprised asking the question of what he is doing there, and why he didn't find it time to look in on her. The maid clarifies that Ruby is training with Sir Rodrigo. This explanation a little calms down Elena, but still she feels lung anxiety. Elena, thinking, suggests that Fael maybe use Ruby as an excuse to linger in this place. This arouses her suspicions, and her thoughts become all more disturbing. Elena Sharp gets up, deciding to understand the situation. Her sharp movements, they scare the maid, who doesn't understand that happens, and watches the hostess with confusion. Elena rapidly heading towards the training hall. Full determination, sort out your own doubts. Her determination, it is felt even in her rapid actions, that emphasizes her internal excitement. Elena reflects on the fact that Fael all more doubts her true nature. She cautiously evaluates his behavior, fearing reveal their secrets. After all, her past priestesses, siege, maybe complicate relationships with others. Fael helps young Rubrio master basic skills, swordsmanship. Seriousness, the boy and his zeal to study are impressive, and Fael patiently explains how to place your feet and hold the weapon correctly. Rubrio with pleasure runs to Elena, beaming with happiness. He proudly announces that Fael offered to teach him personally, and shares their own impressions from the first lessons full enthusiasm. Fael with respect explains Elena what Rubrio shows big potential. It promises to be for the boy a reliable mentor if she will give your own agreement that makes her feel lung confusion. Elena embarrassedly answers that Fael is probably too busy man, but he, smiling, assures her that of the wanderer a knight has no strict duties, and teaching Rubrio is an honor for him. Elena starts worry that their union may not be liked to the emperor. She fears that interest fail to their family, maybe call discontent because they do not belong to the ruling dynasties. Fael calms down her sake, assuring that his motives are clean. He wishes only to repay the House of Urnian for their kindness, and intends study with Rubrio only during his own visit. No more. Elena all more hesitates, but before the pleading with a glance, Fael her doubts begin to melt. His sincerity and kindness touch her to the depths of her soul. She sees in him devotion. Elena agrees, internally realizing that he won't be able to, for a long time, resist his persistence. It is alarming that Fael makes her feel associations with the right puppy, what adds situation's warmth. Having decided go towards, Elena permits Fael teach Rubrio. She feels thanks for his support, and Rubrio is looking forward to awaits continuations lessons, anticipating exciting future. Elena, with pain, realizes that he cannot deprive Rubrio dreams, especially when she connected with his idol. Her heart bursting with desire, do son happy, and she agrees fulfill his request. Despite internal doubts, Rubrio, beaming with joy, thanks his mother for her understanding. His delight contagious, and he immediately has shared this news with Fael, who with tenderness smile watches his happiness. Supporting boy, Elena assures son, what after all her affairs, they necessarily will conduct time together. Her look full of warmth and care conveys deep love, but a smile gives confidence that promise will completed. On a walk, Elena with surprise notices that Rubrio doesn't feel fatigue after all difficulties. His genuine energy and enthusiasm become for her source inspiration and pride. The boy, rummaging through his pockets, finds a pink bow that he recalls Sir dropped Rodrigo. His interest wakes up, and he starts wonder who this is for the thing could have belonged to. Elena, noticing this bow, freezes in amazement. In her memory, pop up memories from past related to this subject. Her soul is filled confusion and questions to which she doesn't find it answer. She remembers a person who gave her this bow in spite of her refusal. His words and gestures awaken contradictory feelings in her emotions. Becomes a reminder of the old connections and deep loss. Elena carefully takes the bow in his hands, understanding its symbolic meaning. At this moment, memories and reality merge, filling her heart heaviness and longing for what was lost. Fael, standing nearby, radiates calm and strength. His support becomes for Elena's support in this difficult moment, giving her the opportunity collect your thoughts and find strength in yourself, move on. Fael, with excitement, suggested opportunity atone for his guilt by asking Elena trust to him, execution important tasks. He was executed determination, but in his gaze was read reserved timidity, fear of missing out on a chance. Elena, keeping composure, she stretched out to him the object he was looking for. Their hands barely touched, but this gesture embodied something more than just the transfer of a thing. It symbolized a trust that was not easy for her to give. Elena, lost in thought, realized that Fael, despite the past years, kept expensive symbol to her heart. It awakened memories of the past that she tried forget. Considering thing, she decided to return it true to the owner. Her movements were filled determination, and the words are addressed with a note regrets, as if she said goodbye to the part of your soul. Rubio, watching the action mother, tried to understand that hides behind her actions. His childish naivety did not allow him see complex the feelings raging in her heart. Fael, while in the park, feverishly, was looking for lost. His thoughts were tormented by doubts. Was he really so careless that lost something so meaningful another time? Elena suddenly appeared next to her. A calm but firm voice called out to him. This moment was filled voltage, like as if time for a moment stopped. She stretched out to him that the bow itself, explaining that it was found by chance. This gesture is like exposed their past, doing obvious all that long time remained hidden. Eyes Elena flared up reproachfully. She wondered why Fael avoids her look. She felt his inside struggle, and it tore her apart heart in pieces. Finally, Fael, he asked in a breaking voice, her stop be so kind and merciful. It seemed to him that better be ridiculed than tolerate pain from her involuntary generosity. Elena, amazed own feelings. Can't believe that her accused of contempt. Her eyes full pains, reflect internal struggle. She feels that her words cannot hand over true depths her emotions. Fael, holding candy, he swears don't disturb anymore Elena. His sincere gesture expresses repentance and desire make it easier her burden. This moment is filled bitterness, farewells, and understanding that their paths diverge. Elena asks question, full longingly, trying to understand why Fael is so desperate looking for someone. Her voice reflects mixture curiosity and concern. She feels that in his search is hiding something more. Fael answers with sadness in his eyes. He admits that ready to donate all for his own sake goals. His words speak of an insurmountable attachment that still defines his life. In thoughts, Fael remembers beautiful a woman in white, standing against the backdrop of a shining sky. She was everything for him, and even now, later years, he still more feels her presence, being where they once upon a time there were together. Elena watches the house surrounded memories of the past life. Each corner fills her with longing and pain. She doesn't understand how can forget if all around reminds us of those who was Rhodes. Melvin, the cold-blooded elf appearance, unexpectedly appears before Elena. His gaze is full of determination, and his voice is firm. He asks to devote to him a minute, as if having a presentiment, something important. Melvin notices that Fael stubbornly does not retreat from Elena. His gaze shows that he is ready act. Tension between them grows, hinting at the inevitable conflict. Elena, it is admitted that Fael suspects her secret. She understands that her past. How priestesses, this can't happen, stay hidden. Her face expresses anxiety, and the voice is filled anxiety. Melvin firmly states that need to faster tear apart this one connection. He resolutely acts, trying to protect Elena, but in his eyes is reflected shadow doubts that this will lead to more test. Elena reflects on the fact that any hasty reaction may increase suspicions Melvina. So as not to give away herself, she decides do not change anything, keep calm, although in her eyes, readable hidden anxiety. Melvin, not missing out moment T, sets direct the question is whether or not Elena got rid of Rubio from illness. His view studying an intent, as if trying to penetrate her thoughts. During conversation at the table, Elena assures that to the boy better develop in the fresh air in the air than lying in bed. She delicately mentions that for this required divine support, sipping tea, Elena, it is admitted that her solution was not easy, but even disease Rubio won't force her change their plans. Her calm only emphasizes internal hardness. Melvin suggests that she tell the truth to the Duke, hinting that hide it's useless. His words sound how challenge, but Elena saves cold confidence in one's own choice. Elena decisively states that the intention will not change. She is perfectly aware that retreat impossible and remains faithful to his own paths despite pressure surrounding. Before my eyes arises recollection of the marriage with the Duke. This union was deprived love and imprisoned just for the sake of salvation child. What does her divorce decree more inevitable? Elena realizes that her power could give Rubio a chance at a normal life. She understands that the truth can change everything, but doubts? Will let go. Her Duke is so simple. She's not going to refuse divorce, assuring Melvina in her solid determination. Her words sound, how final verdict excluding any compromises. Elena leaves table. Leaving Melvina is lost in thought. Her confidence and steadfastness emphasize that she intends go to the end, despite all the trials that her are waiting. Elena convinces with confidence in her voice interlocutor that she can trust. Her calm and determination emphasize inner strength. She reserves for itself impression, going into the garden, where her elegant dress shimmers in the sun. Melvin, watching her from afar, looked gloomily, reflects on his incapacities conquer her attention. His thoughts full bitterness and hidden pain. He peers into the void, wondering question about meaning his own presence in her life. Elena notices that Melvin, despite his oddities, restrained promise. He didn't give it to anyone, her secret, but his gift of prophecy, which became more obvious, begins her disturb as if he sees more than must. In the morning, Theron meets Elena in the hallway. Her unexpected reaction and light clumsiness cause him easy smile, but he manages to pick up her hand. This moment fills the atmosphere with tension, which both hide. Melvin, choosing so his unchanged softness, offers take a walk. Elena can't avoid his presence, although he tries keep your distance. She feels that this man sees her right through that scares and irritates her. The Duke often said that Melvin is just small a nuisance, but the minister irritates him a lot stronger. Its barely noticeable irritation becomes obvious in awkward situations when Melvin turns out too much close. Servant, holding back awkwardness, notices how Elena and Melvin became close. He tries be neutral, but his look gives out misunderstanding what is happening. He cannot find an explanation. This changes. Elena calmly explains that Melvin, tired of the routine work in the government, decided get distracted by them estate. Her words sound calmly, but with a slight hint of hidden, the truth does situation more mysterious. Melvin, hearing her explanation, immerses himself in his thoughts. Her words about him wanting to go comfort themselves seem to him unusual, and in his eyes appears thoughtful expression, as if he was looking for something hidden in them, meaning, the servant decides that since Melvin remains here, you need to devote to him more attention. He laughs, hiding their doubts, and suggests take care of the guest so that divide the burden that seems to rest on Elena's shoulders. Elena met Theron, who accidentally went into her room. She turned attention to his interest in quiet places, having learned that Theron loves enjoy moments of solitude, surrounded pleasant atmosphere. Over tea, Theron suggested try fresh buns, emphasizing their excellent combination with the drink. This helped to create warm and a little an awkward atmosphere, despite the tense relationship between them. Elena noticed that Theron receives true pleasure from hot drinks, enjoying their scent. Despite his cool image, he looked relaxed. That a little brought together them at this moment. However, Elena began to understand that being alone with Theron doesn't bring her peace. She felt that attention Melvina, the elf minister, adds tension, complicating their relationship. Melvin decided to intervene and suggested to Elena try more a gourmet dessert elsewhere. He invited her to leave the company Torona, adding a touch of rivalry between men. Theron did not stand aside and reminded that he was still more her husband. Their talk got hot, raising the topic of who has the right to spend time with Elena. Elena found herself in the center of a conflict where both men started persistently demand her attention. Situation escalated when she felt pressure with sides each of them, trying to find a solution. Elena made it clear that preferred, I would just like to enjoy it walking with Ruby, avoiding conflict and imposed elections. Her reflections were full regrets about how much has changed her life. She wondered why two men so stubbornly interfere her peace of mind. Closed eyes, Elena dreamed of peace and quiet, wondering how to cope with the imposed circumstances to bring harmony back into your life. Elena looks at it with a thoughtful expression the plan proposed to her, listening instructions from an invisible voice. She looks like confused, but gradually her sight becomes as decisive as if she decides trust to this unusual advice. Elena follows the instructions and opens her palm. Expression becomes serious, as if she preparing for an important step. Movements her hands seem honed as if she performs a ritual. She starts fold fingers following instructions. Concentration and ease, the surprise on her face, emphasizes that action. It's unusual for her, but Elena Fast is mastering suggested steps. She folded 2 fingers together, is puzzled about the next step, but obeys instructions. Her expression is replaced by mild shock when she realizes that initially this was sarcastic exit from situations. Elena laughs at the oddity situations, realizing that the decision turned out to be eccentric. Her gesticulation and sincerity emotions are confusing present, who look like simultaneously shocked and stunned. Elena justifies their actions with tension smiling, trying avoid awkwardness. She hides your own embarrassment behind the mask frivolity, but her internal voltage noticeably even in her pose. She indicates that both options seem viable to her, pushing Melvin and Theron to compromise. Elena cleverly avoids direct choice, leaving men the right to further solution. In the evening, Elena returns to his own duties, satisfied that she did not have to become part of absurd situations. Her thoughts return to work, but she, all more, remembers what happened to the lung smile. She understands that in reality, business, her sarcastic solution, may be useful in the future. Again, delving into the papers, Elena is going to focus on what's important task, forgetting about the strange moments of the day. Elena reads invitation to participate in the festival as judges. She looks like surprised, but accepts offer with share responsibility, understanding that her role can turn out to be important to others. Elena, remembering past life, holds a letter in his hands, which wakes up in her heart nostalgia. It transfers her into the past, into the house where always the scent of flowers reigned, filling her soul with warmth. Elena talks about his past where the room was on the very on-top Eastern Tower's temple. Every day she woke up, shrouded soft sunny with light and fragrance blossoming plants, looking at the windows, his ex-monasteries. Elena wonders who got it, room after she left the post of supreme priestesses. Her thoughts full easy sadness and interest. Elena appeals to Lord Pleon to ask important question. He always helped her find answers, and she hopes that now he will be too ready share yours with her knowledge and wisdom. However, having learned about the methods of solving problems proposed Pleonomy, Helen refuses his help. Her face remains calm, but her determination speaks of strong will and inner growth. Lord Pleon opens Elena. What place of the high priest took the one she chose in the past? This news awakens in her warm memories and feeling hopes for the future. Sitting on the throne, the new supreme priest Kellyon causes Elena confidence. His calm and bright aura convince her. What she did, correct choice. Trust to him your own heritage. Kellyon, admiring wisdom Elena, expresses gratitude for her patronage. She sees in him reliable successor, although he understands that he is still more, needs her support and advice. Elena, looking at her hands, thinks, copes Lee Kellyon, with the responsibilities assigned to him responsibilities. Her, the look is full of care and quiet pride in the one who became successor, her paths. Elena, I'm worried. Looking at the interlocutor, worries about the state Kellyanna, fearing that he had suffered the same way previously, Fazel and Cassian. Her eyes full excitement, and gestures emphasize the fear of hearing bad news. The priest, assuring the opposite, says that Kellyan copes with the situation quite successfully. His calm appearance and confident posture give feeling hopes despite the hardships topics. Having received consolation answer, Elena relieved sighs. Her face becomes softer, and the eyes are filled with warmth. She thank you for the clarification that removed big part her worries. Memories, Elena returned to those she loved. Fazel, Cassian, and Melvin. Watch their suffering in the past was for her painfully, and these feelings more gnaw her heart. Knowing that Kellyan found forces overcome difficulties brings her comfort. Elena understands that life continues, and this knowledge gives her a new confidence. Standing among flowers, she feels like her soul is freed from the past. Elena decides live on, keeping in memory lessons, but letting go former pain. The next day, she goes on a tour of the estate's family's Urnian to better understand the place where she ended up. Her sight covers streets and houses filled with life and light. Elena reflects on duty families Urnian before the people. They should take care of safety and well-being everyone who located under their protection. This thought awakened